Bai Yifan was just a regular delivery guy until a package route threatened to yeet him into the unimaginable. His drop-off location wasn't a city, but a full-blown cultivation world of doom. Luckily, his holy ancestors left him a mysterious ring as a survival starter pack. The ring lets him hop between fantasy realms, upgrading a career into an inner-world treasure dealer. The scary part, any random junk he brings over turns into legendary loot. Roadside weeds become divine medicine that makes cultivators claw each other's eyes out. Even a basic apple turns into an immortal fruit worth groveling for. Holy lords see him and shout big boss because his stash is absurdly stacked. Even a 1,000-year-old demon lowers his voice and calls him dad. Today at Wanbao Pavilion in Liaoyan City, cultivators pack the hall for a mega auction. Rumor says the 5 elements circulation art from the sacred land will appear, and everyone wants it. Upstairs sits Lin Yunkai, the filthy rich young master, sure no one dares outbid him. As tension peaks, a sizzling beauty walks out and silences the crowd. She's manager Nalan of Wanbao Pavilion, today's auction boss. First item, the Heideer Mountain splitting art, starting at 300,000 gold. Bidding erupts, instantly blink and you lose. Lin Yunkai casually drops 3 million gold, crushing all competition. Manager Nalan beams and asks for higher bids, but most can only sigh. Just as victory seems, his ring-wearing hand rises. Its owner, Bai Yifan, calmly bids 30 million, freezing the hall solid. A 100-fold jump leaves jaws hanging that some could buy Liaoyan City. Lin Yunkai's face turns pitch black. Someone dared steal his prize. With no further bids, manager Nalan swiftly awards the Bai Yifan. An old man urges Lin Yunkai to endure. Today's real target isn't this. With rivals backing off, the hammer falls and the mysterious courier wins. As people prepare to leave, manager Nalan unveils the true star, the Ascension token. The name alone sets the hall ablaze. It's legendary and rarely seen. The old man reminds Lin Yunkai that winning it is key to befriending the city lord's mansion. Amid the tension, Bai Yifan casually asks what the Ascension token even is. Learning it bypasses all trials to enter the sacred land, he instantly gets the hype. Lin Yunkai sneers harder, thinking this nouveau rich bumpkin just wants attention. Bai Yifan then shouts 100 million gold, detonating the room. The sky-high bid leaves everyone stunned. No one burns money like this. Bai Yifan even scratches his ear, wondering if they misheard the number. Manager Nalan nearly loses it, hammering fast in case her fat fish escapes. She rushes over to confirm payment, stressing Wanbao Pavilion does not do tabs. Bai Yifan asks for a moment to prep the cash and follows her to a VIP room. Outside, Lin Yunkai angrily orders the old man to secretly investigate the troublemaker. In private, Bai Yifan sighs in relief. No more interruptions to his plan. He quietly removes the mysterious ring, ready to shock Wanbao Pavilion. Bai Yifan tosses the ring into the air to activate its inner world travel power. The ring blazes open a cross-realm portal, dragging him off the cultivation continent. In a blink, Bai Yifan is flung back to his familiar modern world. From that moment, Bai Yifan knew he could freely hop between two worlds. Talk about a commute upgrade. It all started a month ago when he cut his hand cooking, and his blood dripped onto the ancestral ring. When he woke up, he was in a fantasy realm holding cabbage, looking like a veggie-wielding freak. Here, the strong soar the skies while the weak just bow and survive. Yet his cabbage glowed strangely, instantly catching every cultivator's eye. They swarmed to buy the spirit herb, tossing money like confetti for that leafy prize. In seconds, the broke courier became a millionaire before he processed it. His first 8-figure fortune came from One Earth cabbage, best ROI ever. After a month of realm-hopping tests, Bai Yifan grasped this continent's rules. The Huanggu continent has 5 regions: Dongshuan, Nanhuang, Shihai Beiwan, and Zhongzhou. It also holds terrifying forbidden zones like the Eternal Demon Pit and the Immortal Tomb. The Eternal Demon Pit is demon territory, crawling with nightmares. Dongshuan, Zhongzhou, and Beiwan are currently ruled by the human race. Humans, demons, and Yao have fought for a century. Calm outside, explosive underneath. Among humans, power tiers decide your status and survival. The mortal body secret realm has 7 layers, from body tempering to purple mansion, each a life or death leap. Above that lies the divine power secret realm, packed with stages most warriors only dream of. Through trials, Bai Yifan learned only plants and animals can cross over. And there's a brutal weight cap, about 200 grams max. Worse, items from Huanggu turn to worthless ash on Earth. Thankfully, the ring autoswaps his outfits, saving him endless trouble. Back home, Bai Yifan realizes he splurged hard and barely has any produce left. While brainstorming new stock, he glances out the window and gets a bright idea. A day later at Wanbao Pavilion, guards grow anxious as their VIP still hasn't emerged. Manager Nalan stays calm. No way she's losing such a golden goose. Some guards suspect Bai Yifan was a fake rich guy who already slipped away. After thinking it over, Nalan decides to check the room herself. She opens the door and smacks straight into Bai Yifan's chest as he walks out. He even teases that she's giving him a grand bow, making it extra awkward. Blushing, Nalan cuts to the chase. Is the gold ready? She vows internally that if there's no money today, he'll pay another way. When he says prepping cash is troublesome, guards assume scam and ready to strike. Calmly, Bai Yifan pulls out a glowing blue plant, stunning everyone. Nalan gasps. It's the ultra-rare healing herb dragontail grass. And he doesn't stop. He hauls out an entire basket of precious spirit herbs. That basket alone is worth at least 200 million gold, far above the bid. While they tremble at the treasure, Bai Yifan casually says it's just roadside weeds. Seeing the rare haul, Nalan immediately offers to buy everything, no losing this whale. Bai Yifan tallies it up. If he sells all, Wanbao Pavilion will owe him instead. When they agree to pay in vault treasures, he grins. Exactly his plan. Soon, he strolls out carrying heaps of weapons and artifacts. Before leaving, he tells him to put the rest on his tab, leaving Nalan smiling at the oddball. Nalan knows anyone who dumps heavenly treasures like trash is no ordinary man. But not far outside the city, Bai Yifan suddenly stops. Someone blocks his path. A gang of armed bandits stands before him, bluntly demanding the cultivation art and the ascension token. Bai Yifan isn't scared. He flips them off and says these trash mobs aren't qualified. Humiliated, a bandit swings his sword to kill and loot. At the critical second, Bai Yifan activates the ring and yells Earth Burrow technique. Boomy vanishes on the spot, leaving the bandits blinking. A second later, he's back on Earth, cursing the cultivation world's kill and steal culture. He realizes flashing cash without hiding his identity was rookie-level dumb. To survive there, he must actually learn a cultivation art. Opening the mountain-splitting art, he's shocked as the text turns into clear visual guides. He discovers that arts brought to Earth become ridiculously easy to comprehend. Bai Yifan grins. This is his cheat code chance to become a powerhouse. Half a month later, an explosion echoes across a wasteland from a terrifying punch. A massive boulder shatters, revealing Bai Yifan standing coolly behind it. Seeing that, he exhales. Has truly stepped onto the cultivation path. For 15 days, he trains the mountain-splitting art while boosting himself with earth plants. His arm strength hits 2,000 Jin, body enhanced beyond peers. Though only at entry body tempering, he can rival an internal strength warrior. While pondering the future, a desperate scream rings out nearby. Bai Yifan spots villagers in the forest surrounded by vicious wolves. One wolf bares fangs and lunges at the smallest girl. A punch flies in, crushing the wolf's jaw midair. The savior, none other than Bai Yifan, making a heroic entrance. Seeing their packmate wrecked, the wolves howl and prepare to go all in. Bai Yifan stands before the girl, treating the beasts like training sandbags. The wolves roar and charge together to rip him apart. He shouts and throws his fists head in. A flurry later, wolves are flying everywhere like torn sacks. After clearing them out, he casually cracks his wrists like finishing warm-up. The rescued villagers stare in awe, calling him young hero. The saved girl Mu Roro brings water to thank her benefactor. With Bai Yifan chopping huge trees, Mu village finally gets timber for new homes. He sips water and shrugs. It's nothing. The Mu village chief invites him to stay, as these mountains are deadly. After the wolf massacre, Bai Yifan is welcomed as a savior in Mu village. Needing a quiet place to train, he happily settles there. In just days, he breaks from body tempering to peak bone forging. To enter internal strength, he must temper organs, best done by absorbing beast viscera. Right then, Mutai readies a cart to sell village goods at the market. Seeing Bai Yifan free, he invites him along to see the outside world. The bustling market echoes with vendors selling hides, boar tusks, and herbs. The Mu villagers lay out their forest hunting spoils. Thanks to Bai Yifan's wolf hunt, their premium wolf pelts sell out fast. Muroro tugs his hand, dragging him to buy candied hawthorn. Mute lets him roam, leaving Bai Yifan smiling helplessly. They stroll while munching sweets, Roro delighted, Bai Yifan urging an early return. Suddenly, pleas for mercy erupt from where Mutai is selling. Bai Yifan pulls Roro through the crowd to check it out. They see uniformed men beating Mutai and the villagers. The weak farmers can only cover their heads, not daring to resist. Roro panics and rushes to shield her father. Mute screams for her to stop, terrified. A thug viciously kicks at the little girl, aiming to cripple her. At the last second, Bai Yifan blocks the kick and snaps the thug's leg. The thug howls as his leg bends the wrong way in front of the crowd. Bai Yifan coldly scolds a cultivator for bullying a defenseless girl. Still stubborn, the thug orders his cronies to gang up. They swarm Bai Yifan, confident numbers will crush him. One charges first, only to eat a full punch to the gut. The blow sends him flying back into his own squad. Bai Yifan kicks another in the chest, knocking the wind out instantly. He icily asks if he's qualified to educate them now. Terrified, the thug begs for mercy, realizing he kicks solid steel. Behind them, a bald brute with a broadsword notes the teen is at bone-forging realm. Bai Yifan grabs a collar and demands why they dare assault civilians in daylight. Mutai hurriedly intervenes there from the city lord's mansion, untouchable. Commander Zhou Heng steps out, accusing the villagers of crashing into the young lady's carriage. The villagers protest the carriage lost control and beat them for nothing. To avoid disaster, Mutai kneels, begging the eldest miss for mercy. Bai Yifan realizes this is city lord power commoners can't resist. From inside the carriage, a cold female voice demands a price be paid. Lanziner, the city lord's eldest miss, orders the villagers' legs broken as warning. Zhou Heng swings his broadsword at an innocent man. As the blade falls, Bai Yifan blocks it barehanded, shocking him. Bai Yifan clenches his fist, roars, scram, and counterattacks. The strike blasts toward Zhou Heng's face, stunning him that the teen dares fight back. Despite his bulk, Zhou Heng barely dodges in time. Bai Yifan shields the targeted villager and checks if he's hurt. Inside the carriage, Lanziner fumes at someone ruining her show. Bai Yifan wastes no words and charges to teach the commander a lesson. The bald brute raises his broadsword to block. Bai Yifan's punch hits and the blade explodes into fragments. Panicked, Zhou Heng crosses his arms to guard. The punch slams his forearms but doesn't drop him yet. Even Bai Yifan is slightly surprised he's still standing. Zhou Heng sneers, boasting iron armor gifted by the city lord, nothing can pierce it. Next second, Bai Yifan's fist shatters the defense like snapping a chicken's neck. Zhou Heng is blasted away, coughing blood onto the street. Soldiers rush to help their fallen leader. Furious, he shrugs them off, swearing to kill Bai Yifan himself. He erupts with blood, key body glowing red like it's on fire. The display even makes Bai Yifan blink in surprise. In a flash, Zhou Heng charges with fists raining down. Bai Yifan studies the moves, wondering what martial skill this is. Zhou Heng laughs, boasting he has at Blood Surge realm and will crush him. But when Bai Yifan's fist flies again, Zhou Heng senses true terror. One punch smashes his face, teeth and blood spraying. The commander flies like a ragdoll and crashes hard. Mu Village villagers gape in disbelief. Even Zhou Heng can't fathom how someone without martial skills hits this hard. Mu Ruo runs over, hugging Bai Yifan and asking if he has hurt. Bai Yifan realizes his earthborn body far exceeds this realm's limits. Enraged, Landziner orders mansion troops to arrest all villagers and throw them into the dungeon. Mu Tai turns pale, no one leaves that dungeon alive. Just then, another carriage arrives inside as manager Nalan. Nalan coldly states the land carriage hit people and abused authority. Landziner demands what Nalan means by that accusation. Nalan bluntly says she witnessed it herself, no denial allowed. She then steps forward to greet Bai Yifan, stunning everyone. Only now do the villagers realize the teen knows Wanbao Pavilion's manager. Nalan warns that mistreating commoners reaching the royal capital would spell big trouble. She declares that if the Lan family wants arrests, they must step over Wanbao Pavilion first. Unable to offend a major merchant guild, Landziner pretends generosity and spares the villagers. After things calm down, Nalan takes Bai Yifan and the villagers to Wanbao Pavilion for treatment. Mururu tugs his sleeve, wondering why that rich big sister helped them. Bai Yifan strokes his chin and grins. Nalan actually owes him money. Over tea, Nalan congratulates him on reaching bone forging at such a rare age. Bai Yifan admits that without her intervention, the villagers wouldn't have left safely. Curious, Nalan asks why someone with so many rare spirit herbs hides in a poor village. Bai Yifan's expression turns icy, chilling the room. He warns that what should be told will be told, what shouldn't, Don asks. Pressured by his aura, Nalan nods in apology. Bai Yifan reminds her of the 3 million gold debt from the previous herbs. Nalan quickly offers to let him pick treasures from a new shipment instead of gold. Recalling the recent fight, Bai Yifan realizes he lacks real combat martial skills. He asks if Wanbao Pavilion has something suitable. Nalan leads him to the technique vault and lets him choose freely. She introduces skills like Spring Mountain Finger, able to pierce stone when mastered. Despite the lineup, none truly impressed by Yifan. Finally, Nalan retrieves the most valuable technique in the vault. It's Shadow Fist, a higher yellow rank martial skill and their prized art. Bai Yifan is instantly interested, it's exactly his style. Meanwhile, Mururu waits alone in the main hall. Nalan notes even geniuses need months to grasp this technique. Seeing Bai Yifan return, Ruo runs to hug him. He asks why she didn't rest in the guest room as told. She honestly says she was too worried and waited outside. Watching them, Nalan remarks they look like real siblings. Bai Yifan smiles and pats her head like a big brother. Then he pulls out something he prepared earlier. It's a beautiful new outfit he gifts to Ruro. Her eyes sparkle, she's never seen clothes this pretty. Nalan reveals the fire silk flowing immortal dress is made from top-grade flame silkworm silk and priceless. Suddenly, someone rushes in shouting that second uncle is in serious trouble. They hurry over and find him unconscious in bed. The old physician examines him, his face growing grimmer. Bones and meridians are severely damaged, he says. Only a great expert or a rare divine medicine can save him. Bai Yifan calmly suggests he might have just the thing. That night on Earth, he barges into a pharmacy about to close. He stands there grinning confidently, terrifying the shop owner. Soon after, Bai Yifan returns to the continent and enters the sick room. He presents a glowing spirit herb and asks if it will work. The physician gasps, it's the legendary azure blood chulin flower. Seeing the pile of herbs, his hands tremble, each worth a fortune. He assures them that with these medicines, second uncle will live. Ruo notices Bai Yifan's injured hand and anxiously asks about it. He recalls acting like a street thug to pressure the earth pharmacist into selling herbs. The terrified owner slammed the door, trapping Bai Yifan's hand. Thinking back, he wryly laughs, he forgot he was in the modern world. 3 days later, Ruro cooks in her new outfit when second uncle walks into the kitchen. He says thanks to the spirit medicine, his leg is nearly fully healed. Roro explains Bai Yifan went hunting in the forest for nourishing food. In the forest, Bai Yifan now faces a ferocious evil serpent. The giant snake coils tightly around him, trying to crush him. Bai Yifan stays calm, clenching his fists to counterattack. The venomous serpent opens its fanged maw and lunges to bite him dead. Bai Yifan sneers and throws his finishing blow. The punch explodes, blasting the serpent into a rain of blood. He swiftly grabs the snake's heart, marveling at Shadow Fist's power. After this fight, he officially breaks into mid-stage internal strength realm. A full day of beast hunting earns him a pile of beast hearts for cultivation. Thanks to Earth's simplified manuals, his Shadow Fist reaches perfection. The downside, days of eating organs trauma unlocked. He plans to bring extra meat and fruit back to the villagers. Suddenly, throwing darts shoot at him from behind. Bai Yifan dodges and coldly calls the assassins out. A group in black leaps from the trees, laughing as they surround him. They warn he won't leave alive today. He instantly guesses the mastermind is Lan Jiner. The assassins only say someone paid big for his head. Then they charge together to cut him down. Bai Yifan evades while sizing up their strength. Among them are internal strength experts and several bone-forging fighters. One sweeping kick from him drops 3 at once. Not wanting to drag it out and worry Muroro, he ends it fast. He unleashes Shadow Fist in a storm of punches. In moments, the assassins lie scattered and broken. One panics, the intel said Bai Yifan knew no martial skills. Bai Yifan steps on his chest, demanding the mastermind's name. When the assassin refuses, Bai Yifan offers double the bounty for the employer's life. Seeing a mountain of silver, the assassin's loyalty evaporates. They kneel, accept the job, and promise to investigate and report back. After settling it, Bai Yifan decides to learn more martial skills and reach Blood Surge realm soon. The young master hurriedly offers a precious golden hairpin, thinking trinkets will calm her. But glancing around, she freezes at a familiar face in the crowd. The one who shocks her is Bai Yifan, the man who should be dead. Furious at the failed plot, she slaps Lin Yunkai and screams why he's still alive. Lin Yunkai clutches his face, swearing he hired top assassins and doesn't know what went wrong. Calling him useless, she storms off, vowing to handle Bai Yifan herself. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan meets manager Nalan, bluntly asking to buy more martial skills, he just needs power. Nalan presents a newly arrived high-tier yellow rank movement technique, knowing he can afford it. Bai Yifan even declares that any future high-tier skills should be reserved for him. Right then, Lanziner appears, mocking him as a country bumpkin, bragging wildly. To humiliate him, she vows to pay triple for anything he wants today. Nalan smiles, reminding her of Wanbao Pavilion's rule: highest bidder wins. Lanziner sneers, betting that if this peasant can outbid her, she'll crawl out of the building. Bai Yifan narrows his eyes, clearly smelling sweet humiliation ahead. She raises the stakes: if he can't pay, he must kneel and lick her shoes. She even flaunts her foot arrogantly, certain of victory. Bai Yifan doesn't argue, he silently presents an item and asks Nalan to tally the bill. The crowd gasps. It's the supreme auspicious cloud token of Wanbao Pavilion. Holders can claim treasures directly, even skipping auctions. More importantly, it grants unlimited spending. Only a few in Liaoyan City have one. Everyone grows curious about Bai Yifan's identity and why the guild favors him. In truth, Nalan once traded that very token to obtain rare herbs from him. Back then, Bai Yifan casually asked what the token even did, clearly unimpressed. Back to now, Lanziner turns pale, seeing a token even her father lacks. Bai Yifan twirls it and smirks, paying 30 or 3,000 times more is easy. Then he reminds her the promise: if she can't outbid him, start crawling. Amid roaring laughter, Lanziner crawls on the floor like a dog before the crowd. Lin Yunkai rushes in and gapes at the humiliating scene. Crawling and crying, Lanziner tastes humiliation for the first time. Bai Yifan coldly warns he doesn't seek trouble but has no soft persimmon. He plucks the hairpin from her head as a final reminder. Crushing it in his grip, he implies anyone poking him will end the same. Before everyone's eyes, the golden pin turns to powder, sending chills through the hall. Warning delivered, Bai Yifan walks away like he just finished casual entertainment. Grinding her teeth, Lanziner swears she won't kill him, she'll make him suffer worse than death. Lin Yunkai suddenly recalls Bai Yifan is the mysterious man who stole the mountain-splitting art and ascension token. He admits he meant to win the token to please her, only for Bai Yifan to snatch it. Suspicious of his identity, Lanziner decides to report this to her father. While they plot revenge, Bai Yifan goes home for a comfy nap. Waking up, he studies his new movement skill with its 108 complex variations. After simplifying the foreign cultivation logic with earth reasoning, he masters it overnight. Combining his fist art with floating willow steps, his confident even peak blood surge fighters are fair game. Plan set, he heads downstairs to buy more cultivation resources. The moment he opens the door, his landlady stands there blazing with fury. He apologizes for oversleeping, internally screaming it's rent day. Sister Gu explodes, demanding the promised end-off-month payment. Desperate, Bai Yifan kneels and offers loose cash, begging to keep 200 yuan to survive. She grabs his collar, scolding a grown man who can't even pay rent. Suddenly, she returns the money, stunning him. She tells him to keep it and pay next month, leaving him ashamed yet grateful. To earn cash, he hops on his old motorbike and takes delivery orders nonstop. He sighs, spending like a king in another world, broke career on Earth. Seeing an ad offering 300,000 yuan to father a child, he nearly considers it. Just then, his phone rings, dad calling, and he answers cheerfully. Seconds later, his face pales, he says is coming immediately. At Hangcheng Hospital, he finds his mother unconscious and his father exhausted beside her. A drunk, uninsured driver caused the accident after borrowing everywhere. They're still short 300,000 yuan. Bai Yifan reassures his father he'll find a way to handle the rest. Leaving the hospital at night, he walks alone under streetlights, feeling fate corner the poor. Suddenly, a distant cry for help catches his ear. A gang is forcing away a white-haired girl as she struggles and screams. They've knocked out her bodyguards and are dragging her off despite her panic. As one thug reaches for her, Bai Yifan appears and kicks him in the face. He strikes another coldly, condemning trash who bully a girl. One thug's leg snaps from his kick, and he collapses screaming. The bespectacled leader orders a charge but trembles at this sudden menace. Bai Yifan knocks him down with one palm, noting his cultivation strength works well on Earth. Constant training has built combat memory, his reflexes and stamina far surpass normal humans. In under 3 minutes, 7 trained men lie sprawled on the ground. The remaining bespectacled thug blinks and Bai Yifan is already before him. One strike drops him, he realizes fighting this man is like throwing eggs at stone. The white-haired girl stands frozen, stunned that she has been saved. Yifan coldly asked if she was hurt and told her to hurry home before trouble clocked overtime. The girl panicked and begged him to escort her home because she was scared stiff. Yifan almost refused, worried his delivery job would find him into poverty. She grabbed his hand and offered 1 million for VP bodyguard service. At the magic word million, Yifan ditched his delivery jacket and demanded the address. He escorted her to a luxury villa, and she told him to wait outside while she reassured her family. Before the door even settled, furious yelling exploded from inside. A woman was raging at the bodyguards, threatening doom if her sister was harmed. The door flew open, the white-haired girl sobbed into her sister's arms, while Yifan awkwardly scratched his head hello. The girl promised never to wander again, and her sister hugged her with relief and lingering fear. Watching the reunion, Yifan smiled quietly. Mission saved the right damsel. After hearing everything, the sister thanked Yifan for saving her sibling's life. Yifan waved off banquets but casually reminded them about the promised 1 million. The sister frowned at the number, and Yifan thought it overplayed his hand. He quickly backtracked, claiming he helped out of pure righteous vibes. The sister scolded her sibling, saying Tang Qiluo's life was worth far more than 1 million. She handed over a bank card with 100 million, calling it pocket change from the Tang Shi Group. Yifan nearly short-circuited learning the Tang Shi Group was worth over 5 billion. The sister insisted even that sum couldn't match his life-saving favor. Yifan seized the golden moment and said he needed help immediately. 3 days later, his mother's hospital treatment was fully arranged. The Tang Shi Group invited 5 top medical experts to design her surgery plan. Sister Tang comforted him, admitting she too only had her younger sister left. Yifan thanked her sincerely and promised to repay the favor someday. Taking the chance, Sister Tang asked him to train the group's bodyguards. 7 guards stepped forward instantly, begging Yifan to be their master after witnessing his power. Sister Tang revealed the kidnapping mastermind was a business rival. They targeted Tang Qiluo to control the Tang Shi Group. Ironically, the thugs Yifan beat were still too traumatized to leave the hospital, so she hoped he'd pass on some combat wisdom to her guards. She promised only half a month of training, with payment set by him. Yifan knew this was both a favor and a golden opportunity hard to refuse. He agreed to give it a shot, and Sister Tang immediately arranged the schedule. From then on, Yifan trained the guards at the Tang Shi Group's martial hall. Meanwhile, his mother's surgery succeeded and she woke up safely. Half a month later, Yifan sighed at home, sensing his time on Earth was ending. He activated his interdimensional ring, confident everything here was settled. Returning to the cultivation world, he worried about Mujia village. The sight before him froze his blood. The Mujia village sign lay shattered among ruins. The entire village burned like it had survived a massacre. Yifan couldn't fathom what had happened during his absence. He ran wildly, shouting for Taishu and the villagers. Right then, Nalan appeared, saying they had long awaited his return. The survivors of Mujia village were sheltering in Wanba Pavilion's warehouse. Yifan followed Nalan inside and was instantly recognized. The villagers surrounded him emotionally after the catastrophe, but Yifan noticed Taishu's right arm was gone. Taishu patted him calmly, saying losing an arm was lucky they were still alive. Yifan suddenly remembered Ruo and anxiously asked why she wasn't there. At the mention of Ruo, the air turned heavy, and Yifan's heart sank. Elsewhere, Ruo lay wrapped like a mummy, her body ravaged by severe burns. The old physician gently coaxed her to clean the wounds for a medicine change. As the bandages came off, the deep burns made everyone wince. Seeing her distorted reflection in water, Ruo couldn't accept it. She knocked over the basin, screaming she refused treatment. Despairing, she begged to die rather than live as a monster. A gentle chop to her neck suddenly stopped her meltdown. Yifan pulled Ruo into his arms, soothing her that all would be well. She clung to him, sobbing that Yifan Jej had finally returned. Nalan sighed her life was saved, but the burns nearly ruined her future. Yifan's face turned icy as he demanded to know the culprit. Nalan said it was the Lin family and the city lord's mansion. At the mansion, Lanqian sat listening to reports. Pleased with the spirit stones from the Lin family, he favored their young master even more. Lanqian was still furious, asking why Bai Yifan hadn't been arrested. The city lord warned that Yifan's background was mysterious and required caution. To appease his daughter, he had already ordered Mujia village destroyed. Lin Yunkai reported over 10 villagers were still missing. Lanqian ordered a citywide manhunt to uproot Bai Yifan and all survivors. Back in the present, Nalan said Shed tried to send reinforcements early, but by the time they arrived, the village was already a sea of flames. Only a few survived, many others, including children, perished in the massacre. Ruo hid in a rice jar to survive but suffered the worst burns. Nalan sighed that her abilities could only save this much. Yifan cupped his fists in gratitude. Without her, none would have lived. Nalan bluntly asked what he planned next. Yifan's eyes froze over he uttered one word: kill. Nalan warned that both factions had blood ignition realm experts. Even Lanqian was at 5th level body tempering, marrow cleansing terrifyingly strong. Yifan remained unmoved. Those who killed his kin would pay. But before revenge, he asked Nalan to care for the survivors. He then returned to Earth to buy herbs for burn medicine. The pharmacist was baffled why he kept buying only burn treatments. At the airport, Yifan saw his parents off for a healing vacation. He gave them 500,000 to relax for half a year. His father patted his mother, saying their son had grown and had his own path. Parents should be support pillars, not shackles. Late at night, the landlady checked her phone, puzzled by many messages. They were from Yifan, saying he'd be gone for a while and had paid all rent. She smiled, thinking he'd finally found a decent job. But seeing a transfer of 100,000, she gaped at what that kid had done. Back in the cultivation world, Yifan gave the medicine vial to the old physician for review. The physician confirmed the ancient formula was real, shocked the herbs were legendary grade rare. Yifan casually said he'd made multiple trips to gather them all. The physician marveled that even one ingredient was priceless proof of Yifan's devotion. Nalan arrived to ask if the medicine was ready. Yifan handed it over, asking them to administer it to Ruo. Tearfully, Ruo asked if she could return to how she was before. Yifan patted her head, promising heaps of pretty dresses once she healed. Suddenly, glass shattered in the room, and everyone rushed in. Before their eyes, Ruo's burns had completely vanished. She stood up healthy, making the old physician doubt his own sight. Yifan happily ruffled her hair, saying she was even prettier now. Behind them, Nalan grew even more suspicious of his true identity. Yifan gifted her several rare dragontail grasses as thanks. He also demanded all heightier martial skills and an urgent secluded training spot. At a mountain estate, Yifan drank demon beast blood to boost cultivation. Then he trained with his sword without pause. Each slash felled trees like wheat before a scythe. After every session, he chugged more beast blood to push his body harder. Physician Tai watched his mad training with horror. Nalan just smiled, advising not to pry into this mysterious man. Days and nights rotated, yet Yifan never stopped. When the forest was shaved bald, he laughed, finally break through time. Yifan officially entered 4th level body tempering, blood ignition realm. Nalan was stunned half a month and had reached latest stage blood ignition. Yifan said the time to act had come. He asked Nalan to take Ruo and the villagers away if he didn't return. Nalan handed him a prepared brocade box for support. Inside was a blood key sealing talisman that caught his eye. She explained they were power boost and defense talismans for short bursts in battle. She also gave him the famed Jansha sword of Yan state. Nalan refused payment, admiring his resolve to avenge Mujia village. She only hoped he would return victorious. That night, Yifan went alone to the gates of the Lin mansion. The guards barely opened their mouths before he blurred forward. One man, one sword, he sent them all to the underworld. Carrying his blade, Yifan strode in, declaring he'd come for blood debt. Inside, the Lin father and son were clueless, discussing marriage with Lan Xinni. They fantasize about ruling Luyun City through alliance. Fat Master Lin hugged a beauty, bragging about his son's ambition. A loud crash from the courtyard froze them mid-laugh. A guard flew into the hall like unwanted delivery. Young Master Lin roared, demanding who dared cause chaos. Yifan stepped in calmly, saying long time no see. Recognizing him, young Master Lin sneered, thinking prey had arrived. He lunged with a punch, planning to capture Yifan for Lan Xinni. The punch was casually stopped with one hand. A twist crack, his arm snapped and he howled. Panic hit how was Yifan at latest stage blood ignition. Yifan smirked, saying breaking arms was just the appetizer. A sweep kick slammed the young master face first to the floor. He rolled in agony, all arrogance gone. Desperate, he screamed for his father to fetch the city lord. The fat man bolted, but Yifan chased like a phantom. In a blink, Yifan blocked his path. He grabbed his throat and smashed him against a pillar like a chicken. The fat man trembled, utterly powerless. Yifan coldly asked why he thought he wouldn't kill. The fat man confessed the massacre was the city lord's order. The young master shrieked he was the future son-in-law of the city lord. Before he finished, Yifan snapped the fat man's neck. Watching his father die, the young master collapsed inside. Yifan tossed the corpse aside and walked toward him slowly. The young master trembled, forgetting his broken arm. He knelt, begging mercy and offering all Lin family assets. Yifan scoffed their wealth was pocket lint to him. He said one of his spirit herbs outweighed their entire fortune. Placing a hand on his head, Yifan told him to atone below with Mujia village. A squeeze, his neck shattered, dead on the spot. Yifan stood in the Lin mansion like a slaughter god after step 1 of revenge. Soon grim news shook the city lord's mansion. Reports said the Lin mansion was attacked, many dead. City Lord Lankin opened savage eyes demanding details. The trembling soldier said the culprit was Bai Yifan seeking vengeance. Lan Qian ordered the city sealed and led 300 armored troops to capture him. Before leaving, Lan Qian ordered 2 generals to stay and guard his precious daughter. Lan Xinni stepped off her carriage, kicked a servant, and told guards to seal the courtyard. On the way in, she smugly relied on 4 blood ignition generals and her marrow-cleansing father. In her eyes, anyone daring to touch the city lord's mansion had a death wish. A maid respectfully asked which nightgown she preferred. Her gaze fell on a rare dress, and she snapped, asking why it was still there. She sneered that Muruoru's clothes were unworthy of her room. Mentioning Mujia village and Bai Yifan fueled her vow to behead him. Suddenly, all servants in the room collapsed unconscious. Lan Xinni panicked, calling out, but no one answered. A cold voice sounded behind her. Yifan had been there all along. Seeing him inside the mansion, she stumbled back in terror. Yifan advanced step by step, suffocating her with fear. She screamed for guards and assassins, but none came. Yifan calmly said the guards and 2 blood ignition generals were already dead. The courtyard now hosted only corpses. Realizing he'd killed them silently, Lan Xinni went numb with fear. Drawing his sword, Yifan asked if she remembered his warning. Blade at her throat, he said Lin Yun Kai was dead, her debt was due. She collapsed, unable to stand. Crying, she begged for mercy, claiming she was only 18 and would do anything to live. Yifan growled that Ru was 13, and the burned children were even younger. Desperate, she kept pleading, stalling for life. She even loosened her clothes to seduce him. Yifan slashed lightly, making her scream in pain. He sneered that even naked, a venomous woman like her disgusted him. Still, he said he could grant one chance. He propped a foot on a chair like a king dispensing mercy. He ordered her to lick his boots clean. Humiliated, she trembled, glaring through clenched teeth. Yifan reminded her she'd do anything to live. At last, Lan Xinni bowed her head to survive. She shamefully licked his boots under his icy gaze. Yifan chuckled that the proud heiress tried hard when death loomed. After half an incense stick, she polished them spotless and looked up. Yifan calmly said that since she finished, it was time to depart. A sword flashed streaked like lightning. Lan Xinni died horrified, never expecting mercy was a lie. Outside the city, Lan Qian suddenly felt unease while leading troops. He realized he'd fallen for a lure Thetager trap and wheeled back. Soon Lantian galloped back to the mansion. At the gate hung a gift, a blatant provocation. 3 corpses dangled, his daughter among them, igniting his fury. Before he exploded, Bai Yifan stood on the wall, coldly smiling, clearly baiting him. Without words, Lantian burst forward, shattering the ground in killing rage. Appearing before Yifan, he threw a lethal punch, aiming to crush him by realm gap. Yifan didn't retreat. Blue aura flared from his drawn sword as he declared death undecided. Sword unsheathed, he unleashed dense blue arcs, seizing initiative. The city lord leapt to dodge, paling at recognizing the violent rain sword technique. Terror grew. This technique took him a year just to grasp. Seeing recognition, Yifan pointed his sword in open provocation, rattling the old man further. Lantian clenched fists, blood kai blazing, admitting Yifan's strength, but trusting his higher realm. He sneered that blood ignition challenging marrow cleansing was suicide, then unleashed full power. Yifan only smirked and shifted into the second form of the violent rain sword technique. As his sword rose, countless dense water crystals formed midair, ready to rain killing intent. The shards fell like daggers, forcing the city lord into full defense. Amid the storm, one lethal shard aimed at his brow, Yifan's premeditated finisher. The city lord had to unleash the cloud thunder shield from his palm to block it. Lightning flared violently. He had activated a true magic artifact. Yifan realized this was now a genuine life-or-death battle. Roaring in fury at using an artifact against a junior, the city lord vowed Yifan must die. He fired a lightning bolt straight at Yifan to end it. Yifan stomped and used floating catkin steps to evade and widen the gap. But the city lord chased and launched a second bolt, this one nearly impossible to dodge. The strike exploded on impact, smoke and dust swallowing Yifan whole. Yet as the haze cleared, Yifan stood unharmed, stunning the city lord. Bathed in protective light, Yifan mocked that the thunder wasn't so terrifying after all. He raised the protective talisman Nalan had given him. It had blocked the strike. Then he activated a second talisman. His body surged with power, absorbing surrounding spiritual Q. The city lord paled. Such talismans weren't for ordinary cultivators. Yifan gave no pause, lunging forward with the third form of the violent rain sword technique. Sword force erupted, Kai shaping into a massive water dragon charging the city lord. Cornered, the city lord unleashed his ultimate move, Thunder Myriad Force, in desperation. The two supreme techniques collided, shaking the area like it was tearing apart. After fierce resistance, the attacks canceled each other and silence briefly fell. The city lord staggered back, eyes still brimming with killing intent. He sneered that even with talismans, Yifan couldn't win by brute strength. Yifan calmly replied he never planned to win by strength alone. The confidence chilled the city lord. Clearly another trap awaited. In that instant, Yifan closed in at blinding speed, beyond reaction. A hidden water crystal suddenly appeared at the city lord's chest, aimed for his heart. Yifan narrowed his eyes, unleashing the ultimate of violent rain, pouring all killing intent into the shard. The crystal pierced through his chest, destruction erupting inside and shredding his organs. The dripping water sword ravaged his body further, leaving him helpless in despair. The city lord dropped to his knees, unable to believe he'd lost to a junior. Yifan approached, coldly reminding him that evil deeds demand payment. Without hesitation, he thrust his sword through the city lord's chest, ending him. Soon, the once ruler of the city was just a cold corpse. Cleaning up, Yifan noticed a small object, the magic artifact just used. It was a cloud thunder ring brimming with lightning power, the thing that nearly killed him. Without ceremony, Yifan pocketed the ring as rightful spoils. City troops arrived, only to face a battlefield of corpses. Standing among the dead, Yifan declared surrender and live, resist, and die. Terrified by the carnage, the soldiers dared not move. Meanwhile, at Wenbao Pavilion, Nalan paced anxiously, unsure if Yifan survived. Suddenly, a subordinate rushed in with news of a heaven-shaking upheaval in Liaoyun City. The report stunned everyone, the Lin family annihilated, and the city lord with 4 great generals all dead. Hearing it, Nalan nearly collapsed. She never imagined Yifan pulled off that madness alone. Physician Tai was stunned. 4 blood ignition generals together could rival mid-stage marrow cleansing. Yet the one who wiped them out was Yifan, who 2 months ago had just entered the inner strength realm. Next morning, citizens crowded the gate at a freshly posted notice. It declared by Yifan a wanted criminal of Yan State with a sky-high bounty. Yifan himself stood in the crowd, annoyed his portrait looked nothing like him. He tossed the warrant aside, knowing he could no longer stay. Deciding to change battlefields, Yifan left Liaoyun City for a new path. That night at Wenbao Pavilion, Nalan stared out the window, wondering where he'd gone. Suddenly, a streak of white light shot into her room, startling her. It was a letter in a small box tossed inside. Nalan quickly opened the letter. Yifan wrote he had to leave, thanked her, and left gifts for her and the villagers. Opening the box, she gasped. Inside were rare heavenly treasures. Smiling softly, she whispered that fate might reunite them someday. Meanwhile, Yifan rode far from Liaoyun City, beginning Enyu. Half a month later, he reached the border dock of Yunzhou, packed with people. He quietly blended into the crowd, boarding the massive flying vessel. Waiting, he overheard talk that the 5 Elements Holy Land would openly recruit disciples. They said even ordinary techniques there could become peerless divine arts. Since the Holy Land was distant, Yunzhou was the fastest route. People jostled in line, afraid to miss their shot. When his turn came, Yifan paid decisively for a ticket to the 5 Elements Holy Land. The clerk quoted a steep price, and mocked that poor folks could sleep on deck in the rain. Yifan tossed down a pile of silver, demanding the best room, color draining from the clerk's face. Seeing such wealth, the clerk bowed, and handed over heaven-class room number 1 like serving a god of fortune. Just then, Wang Teng and Wang Meng strode in, offering double to snatch that very room. Yi Fan frowned, asking what game they were playing by cutting in line. Wang Teng arrogantly said whatever the Wang family wanted must belong to them. Yi Fan shot back that he had booked it first. The pink-haired girl sneered, mocking his death wish for opposing Prince Kang's manor. She bragged she was a titled princess, and her brother the heir of Prince Kang. Yi Fan found it amusing bullies with backers everywhere. Hearing the name, bystanders urged him to yield and avoid trouble. Yi Fan declared princes and ministers were just titles. This room he would not surrender. He even pointed behind, telling them to line up at the back. The clerk sweated power on one side, money on the other. He tried mediating, suggesting Wang Teng take heaven class room number 2. Wang Teng coldly asked if Yi Fan knew the fate of those opposing Prince Kang's manor. He warned that making enemies outside could get one killed unknowingly. Yi Fan nodded in agreement, infuriating him further. Calmly, he said it wasn't certain who was more dangerous here. Wang Teng ground his teeth, vowing revenge. The clerk hurried them. As Yun Zhou was about to depart, Wang Teng finally relented, taking room number 2 but harboring hatred. He reassured his sister he'd buy her expensive gifts at the Holy Land. Just then, Yi Fan spoke again, halting everyone. He said he disliked noisy neighbors while sleeping. Yi Fan tossed down another pile of silver and declared he'd buy every heaven class room. Wang Teng nearly exploded, roaring what he was playing at. Yi Fan smirked. First come, first served had broken no rules. Seeing money, the clerk handed over all the room tokens like he'd hit jackpot. Yi Fan walked off with the stack, shooting Wang Teng a glance that fueled pure hatred. He even gifted one room to a nearby stranger, nearly choking Wang Teng with rage. Soon Yunzhou launched the massive flying ship soaring skyward. As Yi Fan strolled the cabin, a shout behind him ordered him to stop. A fierce-faced fat man blocked his path. Everyone braced for a fight. Next second, they were drinking together like old pals, baffling the crowd. Between bites of meat, the fat man praised Yi Fan's princes are just titles line. He introduced himself as Liu Yi from Wu State's Merchant Guild and asked Yi Fan's name. Yi Fan replied by Yi Fan of Yan State, noting Wu was a formidable neighbor. Liu Yi laughed, saying he admired Yi Fan's guts and came to befriend him. He even promised to handle Wang Teng if revenge came. Sleep easy tonight. They clinked cups, sealing a travel friendship en route to the Five Elements Holy Land. After more drinks, Liu Yi passed out on the table, leaving Yi Fan sighing at the forced binge. Suddenly, a terrifying bolt of lightning struck the flying ship midair. The vessel shook violently, flipping Yi Fan's wine table. He rose at once, sensing something off outside. Panic spread as passengers realized a thunderstorm was descending. Another strike hit, and screams erupted. Many thought the ship doomed. Yi Fan, however, laughed. This storm was a rare jackpot. He pulled out the cloud thunder ring he'd seized, ready to harness heavenly lightning. His research showed it could absorb storm lightning and store it as a weapon. With no storms for 7 days, the ring had been empty until now. The moment he raised it, bolts were drawn in like moths to flame. Passengers gaped as all lightning converged on one point. Thunder poured into the cabin, and some feared the ship's barrier had failed. Yi Fan calmly held the ring as it devoured the heavenly thunder. After a while, the ring finally filled with energy. Yi Fan grinned, another devastating trump card secured. Soon the storm passed, and the ship safely reached Five Elements City. Stepping off, Yi Fan eyed the vast city site of the Holy Land's trials. Liu Yi explained it was built with immense wealth to host the Five Elements recruitment. Seeing crowds from everywhere, Yi Fan grasped the exam's true scale. Suddenly, people pointed skyward at cultivators flying on magical treasures. Liu Yi said they were divine ability realm experts who could fly and wield supernatural arts. Watching them, Yi Fan felt certain had chosen right. Just then, a shout thundered from above, silencing the plaza. A powerful pressure descended, making warriors below hold their breath. An immortal-looking elder appeared in the sky, drawing all eyes. He introduced himself as Yanyun Song, intersect elder overseeing this trial. At the registration announcement, warriors surged toward the arena. Liu Yi hurried off to register, bidding Yi Fan farewell. Before leaving, he warned Yi Fan to hide if the Wang family caused trouble. Yi Fan gave a wry smile. He feared no such thing. At the eastern arena, long lines formed for trial registration. Many failed the first round, thickening the tension. Just then, Wang Teng and Wang Meng spotted Yi Fan in line. Wang Teng gritted his teeth, shocked that the guy who embarrassed him also showed up for the exam. He chose to swallow his pride for now, planning to kill Bai Yifan after becoming a Holy Land disciple. When it was Bai Yifan's turn, he presented the Ascent to Heaven token and declared his blood-tempering realm. Seeing the token, the disciple instantly bowed and waved him in no exam required. Wang Teng and Wang Meng froze, baffled by Bai Yifan's mysterious background. Inside the sect, an elder received news of the Ascend to Heaven token and demanded to know its owner. The disciple reported that Bai Yifan had the lowest yellow-grade talent, likely just a rich kid who lucked into the token. By Holy Land rules, outer disciples needed at least 5th-level marrow cleansing, while he was only blood-tempering. Even so, the elder bent the rules since a token holder couldn't be casually rejected. After the assessment, those who passed were flown straight to the Five Elements Holy Land on a giant bird. Riding the beast, Bai Yifan realized blood-tempering was top-tier in the mortal world but laughable here. He couldn't understand why his body was stronger than most, yet labeled lowest talent. Still, with earth knowledge and his technique-simplifying cheat, he believed he could defy fate. Soon, the group finally arrived at the Five Elements Holy Land. Gazing at palaces floating among clouds, even Bai Yifan was awestruck by the scale. Elder Yan introduced it as the Five Elements Heavenly Palace, reserved for elders and core disciples. he announced they were now officially outer disciples of the Five Elements Holy Land. Each received an identity jade token and a private residence to begin cultivation. In his room, Bai Yifan checked his starter pack life talismans, spirit stones, and healing pills. He couldn't help admiring the Holy Land's generosity right from day one. Among the items, he was most intrigued by a book about the ancient Desolation continent. The book explained the continent's vast regions and the coexistence of humans, demons, and devils. Among humans, 10 Holy Lands stood at the top, holding supreme authority. The most mysterious was Wuwei Holy Land, with only a few disciples, all monstrous geniuses. Huangji Holy Land ruled Central Province, the strongest and notoriously domineering. Zunwu specialized in body refinement, while Zhangqian was famed for swordsmanship. Guangan was unique for accepting only female disciples. His Five Elements Holy Land, newly promoted, was divided into 5 institutes: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Bai Yifan briefly regretted not joining mighty Huangji, but knew survival required personal strength first. He recalled the first 3 realms nourished the body, while marrow cleansing truly transformed blood and vitality. So he began scheming to use Earth's knowledge to cleanse and rebuild his body. For a month, he shuttled between 2 worlds gathering medicinal herbs. He discovered earth herbs, when combined properly, purified the body more steadily. He used traditional herbs like angelica root, lotus seeds, asparagus root, and koik seeds as a detox formula. Over time, his body grew lighter, and both strength and spirit surged. Bai Yifan knew the time was ripe for a breakthrough. Roaring, he drove his blood and ki wildly, forcing a massive bodily metamorphosis. At last, he shattered blood tempering and stepped into the initial marrow cleansing realm. His dense vitality formed a faint red armor, stronger than peers of the same level. To test it, he threw a punch through the air. The shockwave blasted surrounding trees apart, like they'd met a sledgehammer. Bai Yifan realized his strength now reached tens of thousands of jin, far beyond normal marrow cleansing. From that moment, he knew his true journey in the Five Elements Holy Land had just begun. Soon after, he visited the Sect Affairs Hall, which managed missions and resources. There, disciples could take missions to earn resources and contribution points for cultivation. Contribution points were crucial, as they could be exchanged for martial techniques in the Martial Arts Pavilion. Bai Yifan heard the pavilion housed tens of thousands of techniques. Master just one, and your power skyrockets. According to the Ancient Desolation Codex, disciples had 3 main ways to earn contribution points. First, low-level missions for marrow cleansing, paying a few hundred points. Mid-level missions for aperture opening, rewarding up to 1,000 points. High-level missions for Purple Mansion, offering several thousand points. Second, directly submit heavenly treasures in exchange for points. Third, hunt criminals listed on the Holy Land's bounty board. But those fugitives were brutal monsters, and many cocky disciples never returned. After weighing options, Bai Yifan decided turning in treasures suited him best. Still, fearing greedy eyes, he chose to mix missions with discrete resource trades. With that plan, he headed to the Sect Affairs Hall to grab a low-level mission. On the way, he saw a group of disciples being stopped and forced to hand over spirit stones. Behind it all was Wang Teng, grinning at how smoothly the robbery went. The thug leader, Zhao Yang, big and vicious, claimed the victims were voluntarily donating. He even patted one on the head, laughing like he was granting charity. When someone tried to leave, Gao Yang threw a warning punch to assert dominance. The victim was blasted away, scaring the rest into silence. Just then, Wang Teng spotted a familiar figure approaching. He immediately recognized Bai Yifan, the guy who'd humiliated him. Noticing Wang Teng's stare, Gao Yang asked if that was his enemy. Wang Teng recounted the Yunzhou incident and Bai Yifan's Ascend to Heaven token. Hearing that, Gao Yang guessed this brat must be a rich resource vault. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan calmly pondered how to hide his own assets. Before he could leave, a massive figure blocked his path. Zhao Yang flashed a sly grin and demanded to borrow something from him. Bai Yifan coolly asked what exactly he wanted to borrow. Zhao Yang stepped closer and bluntly said spirit stones. The surrounding disciples whispered this newbie had met the campus tyrant. Some even advised him to hand over the stones or face worse pain. Bai Yifan merely smirked, clearly ready to toy with his prey. He declared that if Gao Yang wanted stones, he should kneel and beg first. The crowd went dead silent. No one had ever insulted Gao Yang like that. Enraged, Gao Yang roared, furious at being mocked by a freshman. He lunged with a punch, but Bai Yifan casually sidestepped. That simple dodge shocked Gao Yang. This wasn't an easy target. Even Wang Teng was stunned that a newcomer avoided Gao Yang's strike. Bai Yifan kept provoking, offering 1 spirit stone per Kaudo. Humiliated publicly, Gao Yang gritted his teeth and vowed revenge. He charged again, determined to teach Bai Yifan a lesson. Bai Yifan pushed Lu Yi aside and prepared to face him head-on. In a flash, Bai Yifan grabbed Gao Yang by the collar and hoisted him up like a sack, crushing his earlier swagger. The crowd gasped at the cracking sounds. Gao Yang had never been so utterly suppressed. Even Wang Teng turned pale, unable to believe this was the same weakling. The onlookers erupted, some horrified, others thrilled at the tyrant dangling midair. Lu Yi stood stunned, never expecting his new friend to be this terrifying. Choked until foam formed at his mouth, Gao Yang could only wheeze and beg for release. Bai Yifan feigned regret, saying he only wanted to lend stones. An apology would settle it. When Zhao Yang refused to speak, Bai Yifan coldly said he'd just borrow them himself. He added casually that if apologies were off the table, other methods would do. Holding Gao Yang with one hand, he subtly activated a force like invisible suction. Instantly, Gao Yang's spirit stone pouch flew into Bai Yifan's hand, making him howl in despair. After collecting all the loot, Bai Yifan casually tossed Gao Yang aside. The big brute flew into his own lackeys, knocking them down like bowling pins. When they helped him up, they found Gao Yang already unconscious from the beating. Bai Yifan then returned the stolen spirit stones to their rightful owners. The weaker disciples bowed repeatedly, thanking him like he'd just saved their lives. Spotting a few trying to sneak off, he called them back as if hunting stray rats. Terrified, the accomplices handed over all their spirit stones and begged for mercy. Bai Yifan coldly told them to drop the stones and scram. They fled like pardoned criminals. Hiding in a corner, Wang Teng clenched his teeth, vowing revenge on Bai Yifan. Bai Yifan suddenly scanned the area, sensing a flicker of killing intent. Seeing no one, he could only doubt his own instincts. Lu Yi stepped forward, praising his strength but worrying about Gao Yang's revenge. Bai Yifan calmly said bullies like Gao Yang only dare sulk in the shadows. He added that if Gao Yang returned, he'd happily welcome him again. Impressed, Lu Yi invited him to join a mission that was short on members. Bai Yifan tilted his head and asked what the mission was. Lu Yi explained they were to investigate General Yang Shizong, suspected of colluding with the demon clan and practicing blood-refining demonic arts. If they found evidence, the team would earn 300 contribution points from this low-level mission. After Bai Yifan agreed to hear more, Lu Yi brought him to meet the rest of the team. 3 were waiting: Zhang Tai, Shen Xinyu, and Liang Hao. But Liang Hao sneered immediately, knowing Bai Yifan had skipped the exam with an Ascent to Heaven token. He mocked that someone with lowest yellow-grade talent would drag the team down. Li Yi quickly defended Bai Yifan, insisting his strength wasn't weak at all. Bai Yifan didn't hold back either, sitting down and firing sarcasm right back at Liang Hao. Irritated, Liang Hao frowned and demanded what he was implying. Bai Yifan calmly replied that in stories, those who belittle others usually get slapped in the face. The tension spiked until the other two hurried to mediate. Shen Xinyu urged everyone to calm down since the mission mattered more. When Bai Yifan asked about the Taodi bloodline, Shen Xinyu was surprised he didn't already know. Li Yi possessed the ancient Taodi bloodline famous for gluttony and a brutal cultivation path. Thanks to it, the more he ate, the faster he absorbed spiritual energy, far outpacing others. But the cost was savage. Advancing required 100 times more resources, so most forces deemed it a Fey bloodline. Knowing the terrifying expense, Li Yi still joined the outer sect, determined to fight for his own resources. Hearing about resource struggles, Bai Yifan merely smiled. His stash could rival 10 holy lands combined. If he wished, raising Lu Yi to divine ability realm or higher would be hard. The team then reviewed the mission target: Yang Shizong, a border general suspected of demon collusion. Intelligence said he was mid-stage marrow cleansing, commanding 4 strong lieutenants and 300 Zalozan elite troops. Bai Yifan realized that if those troops gathered, even body-tempering soldiers could create terrifying pressure. So the mission had to stay covert. They'd move in the shadows to reach the target. Luo confirmed Yang Shizong was using civilians to practice demonic blood-refining arts, so once evidence appeared, he must be captured or killed. Orders were clear: capture alive for trial if possible, if not, at least bring back his corpse. As night fell, the group quietly approached the general's mansion, ready for a dangerous infiltration. Guards were everywhere at the gate, so they chose to use invisibility talismans. Each swiftly activated a talisman, preparing to enter enemy territory. The talismans took effect, their bodies fading into the darkness as they slipped inside. Under concealment, Bai Yifan's team glided past waves of guards without leaving a trace. As dusk fell, they crouched on the mansion roof, waiting to pinpoint Yang Shizong. Soon, Shen Xinyu spotted the target, returning final chance to strike. Yang Shizong entered and dismissed the guards, unknowingly giving the hidden assassins a security gap. Inside, his gentle wife helped remove his armor, clueless that killing intent filled the air. He calmly blamed busy military affairs, though darker secrets brewed within. After small talk, he excused himself to cultivate and left, clearly up to something shady. His wife watched his lonely back fade, unaware the path he walked was soaked in blood. Mid-corridor, Yang Shizong suddenly stopped, making the watching team tense up. His icy gaze swept behind him, sensing unseen eyes. Bai Yifan's group's hearts pounded. He was staring right at their hiding spot. Luckily, after a pause, he turned and left, and they exhaled in relief. Seizing the moment, Luo signaled them to follow immediately. Yang Shizong entered a sealed room and ordered all doors shut tight. Ensuring privacy, he twisted a vase, triggering a hidden mechanism. The floor split open, revealing a deep black tunnel clearly hiding something sinister. Seeing the secret passage, they knew this was tied to demonic arts. Luo held them back, letting Yang Shizong descend first to avoid traps. Once he was deep inside, Luo led them into the underground palace. Below lay a vast subterranean hall, proof of a long-prepared conspiracy. Suddenly, thick red mist rolled in. Bai Yifan instantly smelled heavy blood. The dense aura confirmed that Yang Shizong was cultivating demonic blood arts. Shen Xinyi then pointed ahead in horror at an even worse sight. They froze. Yang Shizong sat in a giant blood pool, surrounded by countless chained corpses like ritual materials. The grotesque scene made it clear he was practicing a vicious demonic technique. Knowing they couldn't delay, the team split into 4 directions to activate an attack formation. Before they struck, Yang Shizong coldly spoke. Had long detected them. A terrifying attack shot out, forcing them to scatter with shouts. Though narrowly escaping death, they knew their cover was blown. Luo accused him of demon collusion and slaughtering civilians, declaring Holy Land judgment. Yang Shizong sneered to him. These disciples were prey walking in. He bragged he only lacked the final step to complete the blood-fiend demonic body, and they were perfect sacrifices. Hearing this, Bai Yifan realized they'd fallen into a carefully laid trap. Yang Shizong unleashed horrifying pressure, shaking the entire underground palace. With no retreat, Luo roared and charged first. Li Yi tried to follow but was stopped by Bai Yifan, who sensed greater danger lurking. Sure enough, the chained corpses around the blood pool began trembling violently. Chains snapped as the bodies sprang up, driven by evil force. The corpses lunged at terrifying speed. They weren't ordinary dead. Bai Yifan pulled his teammates back, dodging a sudden strike. Two monsters slammed the ground in tandem, sending shockwaves. Clearly powerful demonic puppets. Amid chaos, Zhang Tai was struck in the chest, throwing the team into peril. Furious, Luo denounced Yang Shizhong's unforgivable crime of refining demonic puppets. Bai Yifan quickly analyzed the battlefield to grasp the monster's nature. He realized the demonic puppets were made from living people, retaining memories and strength, making them brutally hard to defeat. Facing four mid-stage demonic puppets plus Yang Shizong, Bai Yifan knew this fight had spiraled way off script. At Yang Shizong's command, the four puppets lunged like hungry predators. With no choice, Luo went all out, slashing one puppet to break the encirclement. His powerful strike tore it apart, and he thought one was down. Yang Shizong's cold laugh instantly crushed that fragile hope. With a surge of red spiritual energy, he fully restored the sliced puppet. Watching it regenerate on the spot plunged the team into despair. Panic set and they'd be drained to death if this dragged on. Leo gambled everything, deciding to kill Yang Shizong directly to end it. He slapped a spirit-controlling talisman on his sword and sent it flying at the general. Yang Shizong casually blocked it with one hand, utterly unimpressed. He flicked the sword away, sending it flying back like a toy. Leo was blasted away, horrified to realize the enemy was aperture opening realm far beyond intel. Bored, Yang Shizong ordered them thrown into the blood pool as sacrifices to finish his demonic body. Just as despair peaked, Bai Yifan burst forward with the ethereal step technique. His explosive speed caught Yang Shizong off guard as sword ki arrived in a blink. One lightning-fast slash severed Yang Shizong's arm instantly. Losing an arm before his subordinates, Yang Shizong roared madly, vowing to kill Bai Yifan. Even unarmed, he charged like a beast, throwing a full-power punch to crush him. Calmly, Bai Yifan spun his blade and unleashed the second form of the violent rain sword art. Spiritual energy crystallized into razor shards, shattering Yang Shizong's blood shield instantly. Thousands of shards pierced his body before he could react. As their master fell gravely wounded, the puppets lost connection and collapsed. Bai Yifan stood in the center, sword pointed at the general. Battle over. He coldly warned him to stop resisting. Survival odds were 0. His teammates stood stunned. No one expected Bai Yifan to be this monstrous. Yet Yang Shizong growled darkly that they would all die today. Bai Yifan sensed something wrong and heightened his guard. The final chain snapped, signaling the last puppet's release. Bai Yifan paled. This monster was peak aperture opening, stronger than the rest combined. The giant puppet smashed the ground, forcing everyone to leap aside to survive. Seeing its terrifying power, they knew a frontal clash was suicide. Amid chaos, they noticed Yang Shizong had died, leaving the puppet uncontrolled. Without its master, the beast howled madly. It went berserk, unleashing full power and worsening the danger. Then it charged at them like a raging storm. Leo quickly realized it tracked sound and ordered everyone to hold their breath and hide. He suggested retreat. They stood no chance against this monster. Bai Yifan firmly refused. If it escaped, civilians would be slaughtered. He insisted it must be destroyed here, even at the cost of his life. Leo angrily shouted that this was pointless suicide. Suddenly, Li Yi stepped beside Bai Yifan, declaring he would fight too. He reasoned that by the time reinforcements arrived, the people would all be dead. That time was enough for the puppet to massacre everything within a 100-mile radius. Though not the strongest, Li Yi swore he wasn't a coward clinging to life. He'd rather die with the monster than let innocents perish. That death-defying resolve ignited the team, each choosing to stay and fight. Their noise instantly drew the puppet's attention as it lunged. Watching it charge, Lu Yi gripped his sword, ready for a life-or-death clash. But at that moment, Bai Yifan suddenly rushed forward to face it head-on, making Luo think he'd gone suicidal. Bai Yifan coldly told him to watch closely and witness his true strength. He erupted with terrifying spiritual energy aimed straight at the puppet. The ultimate move, Extreme Yang Lightning, exploded forth its anti-blood fiend power, crushing the monster outright. The puppet was blasted into the wall, utterly unable to resist. Demonic ki scattered violently, proving the final puppet was destroyed. Before fading, it choked out that it never regretted following the general. Bai Yifan realized something chilling: the puppet may have chosen this fate willingly. Asked about his power, he casually replied that not everyone deserved to know his trump card. Touching the blood pool, Bai Yifan sensed something off. It wasn't human blood at all. Seeing his expression change, Shen Xinyu pressed him, sensing deeper trouble. Bai Yifan confirmed the ritual pool used beast blood, not human blood as rumored. The team was stunned. This contradicted claims that Yang Shizong slaughtered civilians. Before they could process it, the underground palace began collapsing violently. Knowing they couldn't stay, Bai Yifan ordered immediate retreat. At the most critical moment, a surge of spiritual power descended, forming a protective shield. The barrier blocked falling stone pillars, saving them by a hair. The savior was Ye Xiaokao from the Wood Institute, floating above and observing calmly. Lu Yi instantly recognized the famous inner disciple and called out excitedly. Ye Xiaokao praised them. Surviving a peak aperture opening puppet was already miraculous. As another pillar crashed, she stood serene, having sensed danger long before. With a simple finger snap, she prepared to end the threat. The pillar shattered midair, showcasing the overwhelming might of the divine ability realm. Li Yi could only gape at the terrifying power gap. The team immediately bowed in gratitude for her rescue. Yi Xiaokao stepped forward to assess Bai Yifan, visibly impressed he killed above his level. She even praised his rare insight for an outer disciple, secretly delighting him. While they talked, Luo sneakily searched Yang Shizong's corpse for treasures. He found a storage ring and grinned like it struck gold. But Yi Xiaokao appeared behind him, gently twisting his arm and reclaiming the ring. She tossed it to Bai Yifan. Only the one who slew the enemy deserved the spoils. Bai Yifan gladly accepted the rare storage artifact without modesty. Liu could only glare darkly, grinding his teeth in resentment. Yi Xiaokao then looked at Yang Shizong's body and revealed his tragic past. His only daughter once loved a subordinate general but was forced into a political marriage. That decision destroyed her life and shattered the family. She was abused to death by barbarians, leaving her father with unending hatred. To avenge her against the dynasty, Yang Shizong turned to demonic arts and became a monster. Hearing this, the team realized the general's wife's earlier words weren't simple. Yi Xiaokao added that scars still marked him, a general who once fought for his people. Bai Yifan recalled the puppet's final gaze before it vanished. He concluded it retained humanity because it willingly followed the general. Unlike that sympathy, Luo angrily kicked Yang Shizong's corpse. Bai Yifan instantly roared, stopping him in fury. He lifted the body and sternly said the dead deserved no further humiliation. Bai Yifan decided to return the corpse to the general's wife. Yi Xiaokao presented Yang Shizong's tiger tally as proof the mission was complete. She confirmed submitting the tally sufficed for the report and agreed with Bai Yifan's decision. After the burial, the general's wife said her husband was finally reunited with their daughter and prayed the wronged souls find peace. After settling Yang Shizong's affairs, Bai Yifan stood up and signaled it was time to leave, case closed. On the way back, Shen Xinyu curiously asked why Yi Xiaokao showed up just in time. Yi Xiaokao explained she followed senior sister Jiang to hunt a demon king, but was too weak and got sent to chase minions. Passing by, she sensed demonic Kai from the mansion and traced it there. At the mention of senior sister Jiang, the group perked up. The name was legendary. Yi Xiaokao excitedly introduced Zhang Lingzhi, holy maiden of the Five Elements Holy Land, and one of the top 5 core disciples. The 5 core disciples were Dong Lingzhi, Nanjiang, Shimiayan, Bei Feiho, and Zhang Shenluo. Among them, Zhang Lingzhi had the highest talent and was hailed as the Holy Land's top beauty. Yi Xiaokao instantly turned fangirl, saying one glimpse of her idol was life complete. She dragged Bai Yifan and Shen Xinyu along to witness the saintess in action. Deep in the 10,000-mile rainforest, the battlefield between Holy Land and Demon Clan had become pure hell. 5 Elements disciples struggled against violent demonic ki, bodies trembling from exhaustion. From the battlefield's center, black tentacles of demonic energy lashed out, knocking disciples down. Behind it stood the Great Sorrow Demon King, sneering that the Holy Land sent kids to die. Suddenly Zhang Lingzhi appeared midair, calmly declaring she alone was enough. Seeing her idol, Yi Xiaokao nearly bounced with excitement. Even from afar, Bai Yifan felt the Demon King's pressure crushing his soul. The Great Sorrow Demon King roared, vowing to crush the woman daring to challenge him. Zhang Lingzhi ordered the disciples to activate the heaven-locking dragon formation. They took positions, channeling spiritual power to form a sealing array. Massive vines sprouted from the formation, wrapping tightly around the Demon King. They fused into a giant cage, trapping him at the center. The Demon King scoffed, believing such a formation couldn't hold him long. Below, disciples gritted their teeth as his power pushed the array to its limit. Zhang Lingzhi coldly said her goal wasn't to trap but to prepare the kill. A mysterious golden bird appeared in the sky, startling the Demon King. Bai Yifan sensed terrifying energy gathering around it. Zhang Lingzhi commanded the Golden Crow Phoenix to swallow the cage whole. The fiery phoenix devoured both formation and Demon King in one gulp. Inside, the Demon King went berserk, unleashing demonic power to break free. Zhang Lingzhi calmly declared he had no chance of survival. She activated the Burning Annihilation Flame, fire made to incinerate all demons. A massive sphere of light formed, sealing the Demon King within. In a blink, it exploded, erasing him completely. The shockwave swept the battlefield, forcing disciples to raise defenses. When the smoke cleared, only a massive crater remained, proof of his annihilation. The disciples gazed at Zhang Lingzhi in awe of her overwhelming might. Yi Xiaokao explained that was the Heaven and Earth Dharma manifestation, a power of high-level experts. Suddenly, Zhang Lingzhi turned toward them. Shed noticed the hidden spectators. Hearing Yi Xiaokao say Bai Yifan killed above his level, Zhang Lingzhi looked at him curiously. She smiled and openly praised Bai Yifan's impressive strength. He responded modestly, but under the saintess gaze, he was too tense to look straight at her. Leo sneered that with mere yellow-grade talent, he wasn't worth attention. Shen Xinyu kicked Luo's leg, warning him not to flaunt jealousy so blatantly. Zhang Lingzhi directly asked Bai Yifan if he truly had yellow-grade talent. After confirming, she smiled, saying that only made him more formidable. She explained countless top experts on the continent started with low talent yet reached the peak of cultivation. Zhang Lingzhi promised that if Bai Yifan reached the divine ability secret realm, she'd personally recommend him to the inner court. Hearing the saintess endorsement, Luo nearly fainted from sheer disbelief at his rival's luck. After all, anyone recommended by a core disciple gets showered with resources from the South Court elders. The group then headed back to the contribution hall to turn in the mission and cash out points. At the hall, they reported the successful elimination of Yang Shizong. The elder confirmed the credit and handed out contribution points to everyone. Bai Yifan grabbed his card, secretly thrilled that a low-tier mission paid a whopping 60 points. Shen Jinyu and Lu Yi lit up, already dreaming of shiny new martial techniques. Right then, Lu shouted from behind, demanding Bai Yifan stop. He accused Bai Yifan of hogging all the loot in Yang Shizong's storage ring. Bai Yifan merely smiled and asked, "And what if I did?" Luo puffed up his captain, insisting on his right to divide the spoils. Lu Yi snapped that when Yi Shaokao was around, Luo hadn't dared to squeak. She added that without Bai Yifan, they'd all be corpses in the underground palace. Still stubborn, Luo argued he deserved a cut since he'd fought too. He even demanded Bai Yifan apologize for making decisions on his own. Without another word, Bai Yifan kicked him square in the face, leaving Luo dazed. He knocked him to the ground and reminded him their underground palace score wasn't settled yet. Bai Yifan coldly said if Luo wanted an apology, he could kneel and listen. Fuming and cursing, Lu still backed off, too scared for a head-on clash. He tried to save face, claiming he'd spare Bai Yifan today before leaving. After a few steps, Bai Yifan called him back. Thinking it was regret, Leo turned around smugly. Instantly, Bai Yifan's punch smashed into his face and sent him flying. Luo crashed down like a ripped sack of potatoes. Shen Jinyu and Lu Yi panicked, urging Bai Yifan to stop. Bai Yifan casually flexed his wrist, saying he was just evening out Luo's face for better symmetry. Humiliated beyond measure, Luo leaped up and drew his sword in desperation. But Bai Yifan's blade was already at his throat, freezing him stiff. He warned coldly that Luo better hope they never cross paths again. Bai Yifan then left with the others, leaving Luo kneeling in bitter rage. After walking a while, Bai Yifan suddenly took out several treasures to share. He said since the mission was a team effort, everyone deserves spoils to trade for points or cultivate. Lu Yi and Shen Xinyu were stunned at the sight of 3 rare spirit beast hearts, worth far more than spirit beast blood. Jiangming birds travel in flocks and warn each other, making them hard to kill and nearly impossible to harvest hearts from. Overwhelmed, Li Yi hugged Bai Yifan and declared him big brother, leaving him helpless with a sleeve full of snot. Meanwhile, at the enforcement department, Elder Ming coldly asked if Bai Yifan had truly caused trouble and assaulted someone. Liu O immediately exaggerated, accusing Bai Yifan of disobeying orders and monopolizing mission treasures. He wailed that he was beaten just for reasoning, claiming it shamed the enforcement department. Furious, Elder Ming ordered Feng Chu and Yu Long to bring Bai Yifan in for questioning at once. On the way, Leo suddenly stopped, eyes gleaming with calculation. He secretly slipped gold into the 2 enforcers' hands, asking them to teach Bai Yifan a lesson. When that wasn't enough, he handed over a hefty money bag, ready to empty his fortune for help. Yu Long weighed the pouch and chuckled at its satisfying heft. Luo grew more vicious, saying the target wasn't just punishment, but also the treasures in Bai Yifan's ring. Yu Long proposed swapping the truth serum with a fake one to lock in Bai Yifan's guilt. Thrilled, Luo believed his rival was finally doomed. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan meditated in the forest, blissfully unaware of the plot against him. He focused on studying the blood shield technique, determined to unlock its full defensive power. After deep contemplation, he opened his eyes, as if grasping a crucial insight. The blood shield activated crimson spiritual energy flaring around Bai Yifan before condensing into a tough protective barrier. Right then, the door exploded open with a shout calling Bai Yifan's name. Feng Chu and Yu Long stormed in like cops nabbing a criminal, giving him no prep time. Claiming to be from the enforcement department, they ordered Bai Yifan to come immediately for assault charges. Behind them, Liu lurked with a sinister grin, convinced his scheme had worked. Bai Yifan stayed absurdly calm, even saying he'd planned to visit the contribution hall anyway. Yu Long eyed him suspiciously and asked what for. Bai Yifan casually replied he meant to submit 4th grade spirit beast blood, but Luo tried to snatch it. Hearing about such valuable loot, Yu Long shot Luo an annoyed look. He said the truth serum would sort it out, making Luo instantly tense. Luo hurriedly proposed splitting the spoils, but Yu Long coolly raised the cut to 80-20. Though furious inside, Luo had no choice but to accept. The two continued escorting Bai Yifan, urging him to move at once. Bai Yifan asked to change clothes first, saying he looked messy after training. Wary of tricks, Yu Long decided to follow him into the room. Inside, Bai Yifan changed calmly while the two scanned the surroundings. Yu Long quickly noticed the spiritual energy here was richer than even inner disciple quarters. He realized the carpet beneath his feet was woven from ultra-rare Dulio divine grass. There were also blazing hound fangs and other precious materials scattered about. Even northern divine beast feathers were being used as a doormat, leaving them speechless. The more they looked, the more it felt like a treasure vault, making them question Bai Yifan's true backing. Bai Yifan even generously gifted them homemade medicinal bath packs, deepening their shock. The 2 enforcers concluded he must have powerful support and began reconsidering crossing him. They coldly lectured about long-term consequences, hinting Luo's greed was digging his own grave. In the enforcement hall, the elder declared the investigation complete, leaving Luo no room to deny guilt. Forced to kneel, Luo confessed in despair that jealousy drove him to frame Bai Yifan for the loot. With guilt clear, the elder sentenced him to 6 months' confinement, revoked his stipend, and exiled him to the Repentance Hall. Knowing he was doomed, Luo desperately tried dragging Feng Chu and Yu Long down with him. The two instantly slammed his head to the floor and took the blame, knowing resistance meant mutual destruction. Pleased that Bai Yifan had submitted heavenly treasures, the elder rewarded him with 30,000 contribution points. Feng Chu and Yu Long turned flattering, promising to back Bai Yifan in the 5 Elements sacred land. Once outside, they gleefully split gains, thinking they'd struck gold by siding with big brother Bai Yifan. Their joy barely cooled when a strange sack dropped from the sky and swallowed their heads. They panicked, realizing the sack was as tough as a magic artifact and impossible to tear. As they fumbled, a brutal beating rained down from outside, making them howl miserably. When it finally stopped, they discovered all their belongings had vanished. The thief was long gone, leaving them grinding their teeth with no target for revenge. Elsewhere, Baifan chuckled slyly. His care meant hurting wallets, not faces. The next morning, he strolled into the martial skills pavilion of the Five Elements Sacred Land. Before the elder, Bai Yifan declared he wanted the top-tier technique soft demon great strength art, stunning the old man. Ignoring the disbelief, he firmly insisted had thought it through. The elder warned the technique was brutally hard to comprehend and beyond his current cultivation realm. Bai Yifan laughed and cut him off, clearly unstoppable once decided. Seeing persuasion useless, the elder sighed and handed over the manual, letting the brat face the consequences. Holding the technique, Bai Yifan planned to upgrade all his gear to boost combat power. At the Talisman Hall, he entered like a big spender, pointing nonstop while the manager struggled to keep up. Forget the small stuff, just pack up everything else, leaving the manager wondering if he misheard. Not stopping there, he swept through the weapons section too, nearly giving the storage elder a heart attack. Bai Yifan tested his new golden sword, pleased it was finally time for a full gear upgrade. When he left, he carried so many weapons he looked like a walking arsenal, shocking the Spirit Armory Pavilion. Everyone gawked, wondering how many contribution points this kid had to splurge like that. That night he studied the soft demon great strength art and learned it required absorbing spirit beast blood essence. Luckily for him, Earth has endless cow blood, basically a free training pass. After absorbing enough essence, the body must undergo intense movement to convert it into real power. He deliberately provoked a bat swarm to chase him, turning the pursuit into a live-action training drill. The bats quickly caught up, forcing him to stop running and fight. Bai Yifan punched the lead bat to test his newly enhanced strength. His meridians roared as power erupted like 30 horses charging at once. Riding the momentum, he unleashed across the Mount Ox strike, wiping out the swarm in one blow. Just as the technique stabilized, strange noises echoed through the forest, hinting at new trouble. Two mysterious figures met by a cliff, their urgent tones revealing a dire plot. Eavesdropping, Bai Yifan learned one was a demon spy in the sacred land plotting to kill Zheng Linj. Hearing mention of a demon god behind it, Bai Yifan realized this was far beyond a simple scheme. The mysterious man warned the demon venerable that killing Zheng Linj in the sacred land would spark war with the Five Elements Sacred Lord. He devised a plan in 3 days. Zheng Linj would oversee the Spirit Herb Garden trial. One mistake could send her to Ghost Sorrow Cliff. Zhuanlin Demon Venerable cackled, knowing the trap was subtle and nearly impossible to clear. The scheme escalated: lure outer geniuses with rare herbs, then unleash spirit beasts to slaughter them during the trial. If all outer disciples died there, suspicion would naturally fall on Zhang Linj as the overseer. Hidden nearby, Bai Yifan heard the entire vile plan and knew he had to escape and warn someone. But suddenly the mysterious figure sensed something and blasted demonic power at Bai Yifan's hiding tree. A chill ran down his spine, half a beat slower and he'd be dead. The tree exploded in a violent blast, smoke and debris shaking the forest, as if the spy had been obliterated. After observing and seeing no one emerge, the mysterious man began doubting his own suspicion. Confirming no life traces remained, he left, and the forest sank into uneasy silence. Only then did Bai Yifan crawl out, relieved he'd used spatial shift to dodge the fatal strike. Knowing the demons targeted Zheng Linj and the geniuses, he could ignore it. The problem was proof. Who would believe an outer disciple survived eavesdropping on a demon venerable? After weighing options, he decided to infiltrate the Spirit Herb Garden himself. Only first-hand evidence could stop the plot. 3 days later, the Spirit Herb Garden was packed with disciples eager for a shot at the inner court. The rewards and promotion prospects turned the place into the perfect massacre target. Amid the bustle, a cold voice ordered the crowd aside, instantly drawing attention. Su Changfeng strode in boldly, acting like the place belonged to him. Alongside him appeared Huang Jun, Yang Xiaodi, Shimin, and Zhang Yuan by the full lineup of outer geniuses. Shen Xinyu explained these 5 were already favored by the inner court, awaiting only a breakthrough. Hearing this, Bai Yifan was certain they were the exact targets Zhuanlin Demon Venerable wanted dead. To better grasp the threat, he asked Shen Xinyu about the demon race. After all, to foil a plot, you must know your enemy. She explained demons rank purely by combat power, far more brutal than the human cultivation world. At the top stands the mysterious demon god, unseen and rumored to leave no survivor. Below are 7 mighty demon sects, each a walking disaster spreading chaos. These demon and beast forces are humanity's greatest threat, keeping them ever on guard. Just then, a clear yet commanding voice rang from the Spirit Herb Garden gate, silencing all. Zhang Linj appeared midair. She would oversee this year's trial and demanding strict obedience. Rule 1: fights are allowed, but never attack someone of a lower cultivation realm. Rule 2: the trial lasts 7 days, leave immediately when it ends. Rule 3: all gathered herbs go into special pouches and must be registered afterward. Zhang Linj coldly warned any violator would face severe punishment by sect law. The signal dropped and disciples surged into the spatial gate, racing for herbs. Upon entering, Bai Yifan felt dense spiritual energy and vibrant life, truly a treasure land. He recalled the garden spanned hundreds of miles deeper, meant rarer herbs and deadlier spirit beasts. While scouting, a fierce roar echoed afar, and he immediately changed course to investigate. Before going far, 3 giant magma serpents blocked him, fangs bared hungrily. Unfazed, Bai Yifan unleashed wind-breaking slash, dropping all three in a blink. Clearing the path, he pressed deeper, determined to find the spirit beasts planted by Zhuanlin Demon Venerable. Suddenly, a desperate scream rang out. Someone was in serious trouble. Rushing over, he saw Su Chun cornered by two scumbags stealing her herbs and eyeing worse. Zhao Yang sneered while teasing her, boldly asking for proof since trials are hard to police. His accomplice Wang Deng urged haste before passersby showed up. Zhao Yang's beastly nature surfaced as he moved to assault Su Chun, even joking about splitting spoils. Just as things spiraled, a stone flew in, shattering the tense air. It smacked Gao Yang and Wang Deng square in the face, making them howl in pain. Furious at the sneak attack, they roared for the culprit, unaware real doom had arrived. Bai Yifan stepped out, mocking that while herbs abound here, trash like them is even more plentiful. Seeing her savior, Su Chun begged for help, accusing them of robbery and attempted assault. Bai Yifan cut it short, coldly telling them to scram unless they wanted crippled legs. Zhao Yang, fresh at peak Keikiao realm, thought had finally avenged past humiliation. Roaring, he lunged to settle old grudges in one strike. His fierce punch was casually blocked by Bai Yifan with one hand, like swatting a fly. Bai Yifan remarked indifferently that the strength wasn't even finger-warming level. Cold sweat poured down Dao Yang's back. This guy had grown monstrously stronger. Bai Yifan issued a final warning: bully the weak again and it won't be just a lesson next time. With a snap of his fingers, a terrifying force blasted Gao Yang away. He tumbled down a slope screaming, all bravado gone. Bai Yifan wiped his hands in disgust and eyed the remaining one like unwanted garbage. Wang Deng staggered back, realizing this was no easy prey anymore. He hastily invoked his inner disciple sister status, hoping the title would scare Bai Yifan. The reply was a punch to the face, Bai Yifan coldly asking who he thought he was threatening. One blow rattled Wang Deng's organs, and he finally knew it poked a monster. Bai Yifan scoffed that inner disciple status meant nothing in front of him. Not wasting time, he kicked Wang Deng away like a sandbag. The guy splashed into a lake wailing, while Bai Yifan calmly noted he hated being threatened. He casually pocketed both their storage bags as idiot tax. Su Chun tearfully thanked him. Without him, her reputation would have been ruined. Bai Yifan handed her a healing herb, telling her to recover quickly. She was stunned. It was the ultra-rare Ice Soul Golden Coin Grass, barely seen even at auctions. Slightly embarrassed, Bai Yifan muttered that herbs like this were nothing to him. In return, Su Chun pointed out that upstream lay deeper herb zones along with stronger beasts. Hearing about the Forbidden River, Bai Yifan suspected it was the demon's trap site. Deep there, a rare qingming grass grew on a small island, tempting many disciples. But a lion ape guarded it, leaving everyone only daring to stare. Li Yi analyzed it was at least 6th grade charging and meant suicide. As they hesitated, a voice behind praised their self-awareness. Turning around, they saw Bai Yifan and instantly lit up. After regrouping and introducing Su Chun, they saw Su Changfeng preparing to fight the lion ape. Su Changfeng swiftly formed a hunting formation, ordering 2 disciples to throw stones to lure it away. Meng Feizi and He obeyed, pelting stones to grab the beast's attention. The lion ape barely cared, exposing the plan's flaw immediately. Su Changfeng kept his commanding air, telling everyone to hold formation while he faced it head-on. He surged forward with spiritual power, confident he could slay it. Onlookers admired the coordination, thinking it could wear the beast down. Suddenly the lion ape roared, unleashing a shockwave that blasted all surrounding disciples away. Su Changfeng was forced back, stabbing his sword into the ground to steady himself, finally realizing the beast's true strength. The lion ape grew fiercer, red eyes locking onto Meng Feizi. Targeted, Meng Feizi panicked knowing he was next. The beast charged and slammed down a hammer-like punch. The blow shattered his defense and sent him flying, nearly crippling him. Only then did the others realize it had entered berserk mode, power skyrocketing. Bai Yifan observed that its berserk bloodline had activated, doubling the danger. Su Changfeng panicked and ordered retreat, knowing staying meant death. Injured Huier clung to him for help, which only worsened his panic. Seeing the lion ape charging, Su Changfeng thought only of escape. He roughly shoved Huier aside, choosing self-preservation over loyalty. Spotting Bai Yifan's group nearby, a vicious idea flashed in his mind. Bai Yifan caught that calculating look and sensed trouble brewing. Su Changfeng pulled out a chunk of meat rich in spiritual energy, irresistible bait for beasts. He hurled it toward Bai Yifan's group, secretly using them as shields. The lion ape halted, eyes shifting to the energy-packed bait. As it redirected toward them, Bai Yifan's group paled, realizing they'd been dragged into disaster. The lion ape roared and charged, others shouting for Bai Yifan to dodge. Instead, Bai Yifan calmly stepped forward and grabbed the meat as if planned. He told everyone to stay put, then ran off with the bait, deliberately provoking pursuit. The lion ape eagerly chased after him while Bai Yifan coolly led it away. Li Yi felt grateful, thinking he'd sacrificed himself as bait, while Shen Xinyu worried about a 6th grade beast. Even distant onlookers were stunned, believing Bai Yifan was risking his life to buy time. Li Yi decided to help, unwilling to let him face danger alone. Just then Su Changfeng returned sneering, claiming Bai Yifan was surely Lion Cho by now. His teammates angrily accused him of abandoning allies and harming others. Su Changfeng felt no shame, bluntly saying results are all that matter. He strolled up to pluck Tingming grass, assuming Bai Yifan had taken all the risk. But as he reached out, a figure appeared behind him like a ghost. Without a word, Bai Yifan punched him in the face and coldly told him to drop the herb. The hammer-like blow sent Su Changfeng nose bleeding into the river. Everyone froze as Bai Yifan returned unscathed and casually harvested Qingming grass. Crawling ashore, Xu Changfeng demanded to know how he dealt with the lion ape. Bai Yifan shrugged, saying he just knocked it out and tossed it in a pit, confusing everyone further. The crowd buzzed, some said luck, others suspected his strength surpassed Xu Changfeng's. The whispers cut deep, enraging Xu Changfeng at being humiliated by someone he'd called trash. Unable to bear it, he unleashed Mystic Ice Claw, charging to seize back the herb. He brazenly declared he'd take it today, rules be damned. Bai Yifan smirked and activated Blood Pure Demon Body, his aura erupting violently. Crimson light flared, terrifying Xu Changfeng as Bai Yifan mocked the so-called Zifu realm strength. In a flash, he grabbed Xu Changfeng's arm, saying such a big move on the weak was wasteful. Red spiritual energy blazed around him, pressure tightening the air. Without further talk, he drove a full-force punch into Xu Changfeng's abdomen. The strike blasted him away like a snapped kite, rolling across the ground. Spectators were speechless, and outer genius felled in one hit. No one expected a recent entrant to crush a Zifu disciple so easily. Bai Yifan stepped forward, sneering that if he was trash, what did that make the one defeated by trash? Cornered, Xu Changfeng invoked sect rules, hoping to deter further attacks. Bai Yifan replied the rule forbids Zifu bullying Kakiao, not Kakiao beating Zifu. Soon Xu Changfeng's screams echoed across the hillside as he got another beating. Even flattened on the ground, he swore revenge, eyes venomous. Bai Yifan ignored him and casually took his storage bag as loot. He generously told everyone to pick 2 items each as spoils. Li Yi and Shen Xinyu happily took herbs, admiring Bai Yifan even more. But Xu Changfeng secretly drew a hidden weapon, ready for a desperate sneak attack. A blooded hammer flew in from afar, smashing his legs before he could act. Bai Yifan turned to the blood-forged weapon, knowing its owner was no ordinary figure. 3 disciples appeared, scolding Xu Changfeng for disgracing the outer sect with sneak attacks. Bai Yifan recognized them as Zifu experts capable of condensing blood energy into weapons. One kicked Xu Changfeng aside like trash, calling him outer sect shame. Huang Zhen then invited Bai Yifan to join them deeper into the Forbidden River. Curious, Bai Yifan asked why forming a team was necessary. They explained entering Purple Vine Valley required combined strength to break the barrier guarding high-grade herbs. Immediately, everyone began gathering spiritual power, preparing to shatter the restriction together. Their combined force created immense pressure, making the barrier tremble and crack. Yang Xiaodi urged everyone to pour in more spiritual power to shatter the final layer. Huang Zhen and Shi Min reinforced the strike, boosting the barrier-breaking attack. Under concentrated power, the barrier finally ruptured, opening a large hole. Everyone sighed in relief as the path into Purple Vine Valley opened. From their talk, Bai Yifan realized nearly all outer elite disciples had gathered here. Shimin was surprised a new disciple like Bai Yifan dared enter such danger. The group stepped into Purple Vine Valley, where spiritual energy was so dense it felt like paradise. But as one disciple reached for rare purple cherry blossoms, a massive shadow lunged from the dark. Sensing killing intent, Bai Yifan warned them it was no ordinary beast. The creature struck with razor claws, tearing a nearby disciple apart in blood. Horror spread, it was the Moonhowl Wolf, a notorious 7th-grade beast. Huang Zhen tried calming them, saying 7th grade equaled Zifu realm and numbers could win. Greed flared as some discussed selling its eyes and hide for spirit stones. Bai Yifan, however, felt its aura was bizarre, unlike normal beasts. Suddenly, the Moonhowl Wolf let out a hoarse laugh, chilling the air. Bai Yifan realized the anomaly. Unintelligent beasts don't laugh like humans. The wolf lunged at Huang Zhen, who still believed he could suppress it. In a blink, Icy Claw shredded Huang Zhen's defenses. Disciples froze as a third-level Zifu expert fell in one strike. The beast rampaged like a storm, killing several more in shattering formation. Bai Yifan understood Purple Vine Valley was a premeditated trap. The demons only needed to lure elites here and unleash beasts for slaughter. Elsewhere, Jiang Ling sensed the disturbance and her face changed. Without delay, she ordered preparations and flew toward Purple Vine Valley. Inside, disciples panicked, realizing even united they couldn't survive a single blow. Shi Min collapsed trembling, despairing as death loomed. Some noticed the wolf was herding them into a corner, toying with prey. It stood tall and howled eerily, sending chills down spines. Someone guessed it was calling companions to finish them off. But Bai Yifan sensed the howl meant more than summoning allies. From the shadows, countless savage eyes emerged as all valley beasts were summoned. The Moonhowl Wolf watched like a master over livestock, clearly commanding the pack. Bai Yifan recalled that high-grade spirit beasts can lead lower beasts in battle. If so, the exit was sealed. They were awaiting slaughter. Some disciples despaired, realizing the spirit herb garden was a death trap. Shi Min panicked and fled, worsening the chaos. The wolf instantly seized her like fragile prey. Seeing this, Yang Xiaodi mentally collapsed, trembling in fear. Bai Yifan knew if panic continued, all would die. He also sensed the wolf was leisurely waiting, as if baiting bigger prey. With no time left, Bai Yifan decided to gamble. He stepped out to face the beast, telling everyone to stay still while he handled it. Calming them, he prepared a special treat for the wild pack. He tossed a strange plant into their midst, releasing a horrifying stench. At first, the Moonhowl Wolf remained calm, seemingly unaffected by the foul odor. The beast behind them started foaming and dropping like flies from the toxic stench. Yang Xiaodi realized in horror it was Wanshi Hu Yichao, a deadly weed that scares life away for miles. Bai Yifan, however, casually thought it was just Earth's version of smelly grass. Watching beasts collapse from stinkweed, Bai Yifan quietly thanked his ordinary plant for overachieving. The disciples behind the rocks cheered as the beast encirclement finally broke. Bai Yifan landed calmly, saying the beasts were minor trouble, the real headache was still ahead. His gaze locked onto Xiao Yulang, knowing as long as it lived, no one was safe. The disciples nervously pinned all hope on Bai Yifan's duel with the spirit beast. Without hesitation, Bai Yifan charged his spirit sword blazing for a preemptive strike. He unleashed Blazing Flame Slash, a fiery arc aimed straight at Xiao Yulang. The full force hit left only a scratch, and Bai Yifan realized its hide was absurdly tough. Xiao Yulang tilted its head and let out a raspy, mocking chuckle. Seeing even its weak spot was hard to crack, Bai Yifan knew this was Allen territory. The spirit beast countered at terrifying speed, making the disciples scream warnings. Bai Yifan used drifting Kakin steps to barely dodge while plotting to lock its movement. Knowing he couldn't drag this out, he gambled on a life-or-death blow. As Xiao Yulang lunged, he spun and thrust his sword at its throat. Onlookers gasped, thinking it suicidal since he might lose an arm for it. But Bai Yifan instantly channeled spirit power, readying a secret weapon. Yang Xiaodi panicked upon seeing something unusual forming in his hand. A sharp blood-key blade gradually condensed in Bai Yifan's palm. He poured all his strength into driving the blood-key blade into Xiao Yulang. The spirit beast howled miserably and collapsed, leaving the disciples stunned speechless. Many guessed Bai Yifan had just broken through to the Purple Palace realm mid-fight. The disciples rushed out cheering, as he had saved them all. Bai Yifan clearly felt the Purple Palace realm's power condensing Q into a weapon. Just then an eerie laugh echoed, instantly putting everyone on guard. Bai Yifan realized the demonic key controlling Xiao Yulang hadn't fully vanished. A magic artifact descended from the sky, tightly binding the beast's corpse. Spiritual flames flared up, burning away the lingering demonic Qi. Jiang Ling's descended majestically, asking if anyone was hurt. Bai Yifan thought thankfully she arrived in time, or the demonic Qi might wipe them out. The disciples rejoiced as their strongest senior sister finally appeared. Jiang Ling used her power to purge all remaining demonic Kai in the area. She then demanded a full explanation of what happened in Purple Lantern Valley. Bai Yifan stepped forward, stating someone must have been manipulating the spirit beast. The others agreed since that demonic key clearly wasn't from the spirit herb garden. Yang Xiaodi recounted everything from entering the valley to meeting Xiao Yulang. She stressed that Bai Yifan's Wan Shihu Yitao bought them time and saved their lives. Jiang Ling asked in shock where he got such a rare treasure. Bai Yifan scratched his head and awkwardly claimed he just picked it up. Jiang Ling inspected the corpse and found the suppression restriction had been destroyed. She ordered everyone to leave Purple Lantern Valley while she investigated the mastermind. Since Bai Yifan risked his life to block the beast, Jiang Ling admitted he indirectly saved everyone. To repay him, Jiang Ling took out a rare martial skill manual golden lock finger. Though short on techniques, she decided to gift him this high-level skill to settle the debt. Not stopping there, Jiang Ling produced a small medicine bottle, clearly not done repaying him yet. Knowing he'd just entered the Purple Palace realm, Jiang Ling gave him 3 stabilizing palace pills to stop him from blowing himself up. Still puzzled, Jiang Ling bluntly asked how someone with yellow-grade talent could level up like a rocket. Bai Yifan fibbed that had stumbled upon a treasure stash, hence the crazy power boost. Midstream, he sensed movement in the bushes and instantly shut up, going full alert. Suspecting a spy in 5 Elements Holy Land stronger than Jiang Ling, he chose to keep that theory to himself. Just as tension peaked, 3 late female disciples arrived reporting in, killing the secret chat. Sensing something fishy, Jiang Ling suspended all Spirit Herb Garden trials to investigate. In the Holy Land's main hall, the deans held an emergency meeting, knowing this wasn't minor drama. Tu Shanrong suspected sabotage of the restriction since low-level beasts couldn't escape under Jiang Ling's watch. Xia Qingshan, however, shoved the blame onto Jiang Ling, calling it negligence. Yantian's fired back, saying deaths in trials are normal. Someone was clearly stirring the pot. Xia Qingshan pressed on, arguing that one step later and half the outer sect would be dead. Tu Shanrong reminded them Jiang Ling once slew the Great Sorrow Demon King, hinting they should tread lightly. In the end, Mu Luo fined Jiang Ling's 3-month stipend and reassigned her to teach out her disciples, ending the spat. Knowing her master was shielding her, Jiang Ling bowed and accepted the punishment without protest. Mu Luo even docked his own pay for 6 months, leaving Xia Qingshan no room to keep nagging. Yantian shifted focus to the real MVP of the crisis, a new disciple named Bai Yifan. Hearing he'd just joined and already made waves, the deans grew curious about his true talent. Someone sighed that if that mysterious senior sister were present, she'd surely notice this odd prodigy. While the old monsters gossiped, Bai Yifan suddenly sneezed afar, as if feeling talked about. Back in his courtyard, he tried the stabilizing palace pill but frowned at its underwhelming effect. The Purple Palace births divine powers in the nascent soul. Unstable, it backfires catastrophically. Recalling Earth logic, he cooked up a goofy yet bold idea: eat blue walnuts for brain boosts. He gambled that if walnuts feed brains on Earth, maybe they'd nourish the Niwan Palace here too. After eating and cultivating, hot spiritual energy surges power gathered in his Niwan Palace. Once his divine sense fully controlled the energy, he knew his Purple Palace realm was rock solid. With cultivation stable, his eyes fell on Golden Lockfinger, already plotting to simplify it back on Earth. Returning to his familiar Earth home, Bai Yifan decided to chill for a few days. Money wasn't an issue anymore. A message from his mom in Vietnam saying Shed recovered made him breathe easy. Knowing his parents and sister Gu were living well, he felt risking his life in the other world was worth it. Then his phone lit up with tons of messages from Tang Rongrong. Shed clearly been hunting him for days. Messages from Nav 11 to 15 surprised him. This second young lady rarely chased anyone. Not wanting misunderstandings, he quickly apologized, blaming recent business. Before he could hit send, frantic knocking echoed outside in the dead of night. Opening the door, he found childhood buddy He Shengwei, totally unexpected. Questions on hold, the two headed to a lively bar, kicking off a long-overdue catch-up. Spotting Bai Yifan's luxury car, He Shengwei teased that he must have snagged a rich sugar mommy. Bai Yifan just smirked, his buddy's sharp tongue hadn't changed one bit. He Shengwei joked that with his face, no rich lady would ever sponsor him anyway. Suddenly, an annoyed protest caught Bai Yifan's attention. The voice sounded oddly familiar. Turning over, he saw Tang Rongrong drunk while a man kept forcing her to drink more. Realizing a friend was in trouble, Bai Yifan left the table immediately, leaving He Shengwei confused behind. The man had dirty plans: get her drunk and drag her into the restroom for something shady. Pretending to toast, he pushed her to finish one last drink, clearly baiting the trap. Just as he forced the glass forward, Bai Yifan grabbed his wrist and coldly told him to stop. The interrupted man cursed angrily, shocked someone dared interfere. Bai Yifan skipped the talk and punched him, instantly teaching him had picked the wrong target. He warned that touching Tang Rongrong again would end far worse than a punch. Sweating cold, the man apologized repeatedly, realizing he was no match. With the trouble handled, Bai Yifan asked Tang Rongrong if she could still stand. She looked at him drunkenly and slurred his name, clearly far from sober. 2 hours earlier, she'd been lying in bed staring at her phone waiting for his reply. When his response finally came but rejected meeting, her mood crashed instantly. Fueled by grievance and alcohol, she cried and scolded Bai Yifan for avoiding her. Facing the crying drunk girl, Bai Yifan was utterly confused. She kept questioning where he'd been these days and whether he was seeing another woman. Growing more upset, she accused him of preferring bar drinks over meeting her. Watching the drama, He Shengyi grinned and teased Bai Yifan about hiding his rich lady. Bai Yifan eventually told the bodyguard she was drunk and he'd take her home safely. He helped her into the car, but Tang Rongrong insisted on talking instead of going home. He Shengwei even winked teasingly, leaving Bai Yifan speechless. After bringing her to his place and putting her on the bed, she still refused to sleep. In her drunken haze, she kept calling his name, saying she had something important. Bai Yifan advised her to sleep first, thinking morning clarity would be better. Still, he grew curious about what she wanted to say so badly. Suddenly, Tang Rongrong grabbed his face and told him to stay quiet so she could speak. She stuttered that there was something between them she had to confess. Hearing her hesitant words, Bai Yifan tensed, waiting for the reveal. The dramatic moment collapsed when she suddenly vomited straight onto him. Then she stumbled to undress for a shower, leaving Bai Yifan panicking while guiding her. After the chaotic struggle, they ended up lying on the same bed while he shivered awkwardly. Even so, he couldn't sleep, still wondering what she meant to confess. Just then Tang Rongrong suddenly hugged him from behind, making his heart race. She said Shed wanted to see him for a long time, but his distance only confused her more. Only holding him like this made her feel he truly existed before her. Finally, Tang Rongrong tremblingly admitted she might truly like Bai Yifan. She said she wanted to test whether it was admiration or love, so she asked to sleep beside him. Hearing such a blunt request, Bai Yifan grew cautious, thinking she spoke unconsciously while drunk. But Tang Rongrong softly insisted she was fully sober and had thought this through. When he tried to avoid the awkward situation, she thought he disliked her and grew hurt. Not wanting more misunderstanding, Bai Yifan suddenly kissed her to stop the self-doubt. At that moment, he only knew a man could hardly refuse a girl crying before him. The atmosphere heated as both finally dropped their guard and followed their emotions. The next morning, Bai Yifan woke up exhausted after a very long night. But when he turned over, the bed was empty. Tang Rongrong had clearly left early. Checking his phone, he found a message left by Tang Rongrong. In it, she admitted she truly liked him, but needed time to think and asked him to keep last night's secret. Bai Yifan could only laugh bitterly, having thought the night confirmed their relationship. Then he remembered her terrifying older sister and instantly felt a chill down his spine. Back in the cultivation world, Bai Yifan quietly trained in his courtyard as if nothing had happened. A finger strike flashed through the air and pierced a bird flying across the sky. Seeing the result, he confirmed that the simplified golden lock finger had become an excellent long-range kill move. That meant he now had another strong trump card for future battles. Just then a strange light appeared over Five Elements Mountain, signaling a major event. Heavenly sounds echoed across the Holy Land, alerting every disciple. Li Yi rushed over saying the elders were summoning all outer disciples, so Bai Yifan went to check. Before the crowd, Xiao Qingshan announced that the demon Huoyun of the Shura demon sect had massacred a city. After discussing with other holy lands, they decided to enter the eternal demon pit to hunt him down. To motivate everyone, huge rewards were offered to the top 3 fighters: spirit pills, top-grade artifacts, and peak martial skills. Hearing the massive rewards, the disciples buzzed with excitement at the life-changing chance. Especially the Forget Dust pill, which could help a Purple Palace peak cultivator break into the divine power realm. Such rich rewards made many realize the mission would be extremely dangerous. Li Yi guessed it was also a competition between holy lands, explaining the generous prizes. Su Chun worried because Eternal Demon Pit was famous for near-certain death. Lu Wei, however, was excited about hunting demons to grow stronger. Hearing that, Bai Yifan also decided to join since he needed real combat training. Still, he remained cautious because a spy in the Holy Land would make the trip even deadlier. Zhang Tai reminded everyone to prepare special gear if they wanted to survive inside the demon pit. The Eternal Demon Pit is a massive space with 99 layers, each like its own world. Countless terrifying demons live there, from yaksha to giant fiends. The deeper the layer, the richer the treasures, but the stronger and more brutal the monsters. Fortunately, those demons share a fatal weakness: extreme fear of light. Therefore, everyone must carry luminous pearls or light-emitting artifacts to avoid dying in darkness. 3 days later, the disciples gathered at Black Radiance City, the gateway to the Eternal Demon Pit. Each person received a transmission talisman to call for help in danger. After dismissal, hundreds of disciples scattered to prepare for the life-and-death journey. Bai Yifan's group entered Black Radiance City's market, where even small shops sold high-grade weapons. Su Chun had just chosen a sword when Sun Xing of Xiangjia sect claimed he saw it first. Even when reminded the opponents were 5 Elements Holy Land disciples, Sun Xing remained arrogant. Watching the needless provocation, Bai Yifan thought someone had delivered free battle experience. Li Yi bluntly replied that even weakened, 5 Elements Holy Land was stronger than their sect. Being called third-rate enraged Sun Xing, since Xiangjia sect was actually a second-rank sect. Yet Bai Yifan's group coldly treated them like trash compared to Holy Land disciples. Insulted outright, Sun Xing lost patience and prepared to fight inside the shop. Just as tension exploded, a cold voice ordered everyone to stop. In a blink, Bai Yifan drew his sword and blocked before her, moving so fast the opponent couldn't react. Feeling the power gap, Sun Xing swallowed his pride and left while Su Chun happily kept the sword. Bai Yifan seriously warned Su Chun to train harder, since no one would always protect her in the demon pit. Back at the inn, the Xiangjia sect disciple knelt to accept punishment for embarrassing the sect. Sun Xing was slapped by an elder for provoking the 5 Elements Holy Land disciples. The elder warned that in Black Radiance City, offending a Holy Land was suicidal. He revealed 5 Elements Holy Land might reclaim its first-rank status at the coming Grand Assembly. Only if they fell could Xiangjia sect compete for a seat among the 10 Great Holy Lands. So losing to an outer disciple made the elder even angrier. He ordered them to regain face or face severe punishment. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan's group entered the nearest entrance to the Eternal Demon Pit. On the 6th layer, Lu Yi unleashed Lingfeng Slash, wiping out a wave of demons. Zhang Tai charged like a mad bull, smashing demons apart with his palms. In just days, they killed nearly 1,000 demons and pushed to layer 6. Amid the battlefield, Shen Xinyu found a glowing rare demon spirit plant. She beamed as if striking gold, knowing it would sell for a fortune. After resting, Bai Yifan declared he'd descend to layer 7 to test himself. He tasked Lu Yi with protecting the group, since he came for real training. Su Chun timidly asked him to stay a few more days, as she had found no spirit herbs yet. But Bai Yifan firmly refused, unwilling to delay cultivation. On layer 7, demons feasted on cultivators like a banquet, pure hellscape. A hunted disciple realized star-ranked demons here were impossibly strong. He understood rewards meant nothing if he lost his life. So he turned and ran, screaming for help. A spear-wielding demon chased him like a cat toying with a mouse. As the spear neared his back, he despaired, certain of death. At the brink of life and death, a blast thundered and blocked the strike. A figure appeared, knocking the demon away and calmly noting it was a yaksha. Bai Yifan smiled at the incoming swarm, as if pleased to meet worthy foes. When asked about a light artifact, he casually said he didn't need one. He reassured that these demons barely qualified as his opponents. With one sword move, he beheaded the yaksha group, corpses falling like leaves. The rescued disciple gaped, never having seen such strength. Before he recovered, another horde arrived, some at marrow cleansing and aperture opening realms. Bai Yifan launched violent rain sword art, soaring up to strike the swarm. The demons panicked to scatter, but one spear-wielding fiend charged fiercely back. A closer look showed a massive demon radiating oppressive aura. Bai Yifan quickly judged it at least mid-stage Purple Palace realm. Wanting a swift end, he targeted the leader first. His sword light fell, but the demon blocked with shocking speed. Without pause, Bai Yifan condensed spirit power into a blazing golden orb. The orb transformed into Golden Lock Finger and pierced straight through the demon. In a blink, the Purple Palace demon fell, ending the fight. The watching disciple was stunned. Killing Purple Palace so easily was unheard of. The remaining demons fled in panic at their leader's death. Bai Yifan raised his hand coldly, declaring that those who came wouldn't leave. A barrage of Golden Lock Fingers shot out, exploding the demons midair like fireworks. Corpses littered the ground, leaving the onlooker utterly shaken. Bai Yifan casually noted demon corpses could trade for contribution points and collected them. He mused that if Golden Lock Finger was this effective, he might as well train all 10 fingers. Over the next 2 days, every demon he met was cleanly eliminated. While resting, his transmission talisman suddenly lit up. Bai Yifan frowned, knowing it meant someone was in danger. Elsewhere in the demon pit, Here and 2 female disciples were surrounded by Xiangjia sect members. Sun Jing and Zhao Shu restrained 2 of them while mocking 5 Elements Holy Land's decline. They sneered that the Holy Land's spirit veins were drying up and collapse was near. Then they forced the girls to drop their weapons and transmission talismans, or the hostage would die. With no choice, Huir and her fellows complied just to keep their friend alive. The thugs then forced them to burn their transmission talismans, cutting off any rescue hope. Immediately after, they surrounded the 3 girls, ready to act. Huir gritted her teeth and demanded their real motive. Zhao Shu leered and ordered them to strip before everyone. Sun Jing even shoved the hostage aside like he was settling in for a show. The group mocked the Holy Land girls, eager to turn them into entertainment. Desperate, the girls resolved to fight to the death if they had any chance. But Zhao Shuo commanded everyone to rush in and tear their clothes off. At that instant, a sharp sound cut through the air. Zhao Shuo suddenly spat blood and collapsed, ambushed in a blink. The Zhangjia sect members panicked upon seeing their senior brother dead. A cold voice rang out scorning their bullying of women. Realizing the foe was no joke, Sun Xing screamed for everyone to run. Bai Yifan unleashed Golden Lockfinger in pursuit, mocking their Na'vi escape plan. In moments, the Zhangjia disciples fell like harvested wheat. Sun Xing turned only to find Bai Yifan already behind him, sending chills down his spine. Under that icy gaze, Sun Xing dropped to his knees begging for mercy. Before he finished, a scream echoed as his life was ended. Huir and the two girls bowed gratefully, knowing disaster had been avoided. Bai Yifan said saving fellow disciples was natural and asked for the path to Layer 8. Hearing he planned to descend, Huir was shocked. She warned that Layer 8 might host divine power realm demon leaders extremely dangerous. Still, she directed him along the river ahead for dozens of miles to find the entrance. As thanks, Bai Yifan gifted them demon horns from the battle. He also gave rare spirit beast milk to restore vitality, stunning the three girls. Then Bai Yifan smiled lightly and continued his journey. From afar, Wang Teng and Dao Yang watched everything, unable to hide their jealousy. Just then Wang Teng's sister Wang Meng appeared and scolded him for being useless. Wang Teng panicked, asking why his intersex sister was in the demon pit. Zhao Yang, seeing Wang Meng's beauty, shamelessly flirted. Before he finished, a sword was already at his throat. Wang Meng coldly warned him to shut up. She threatened to cut off his head if he stepped closer. Zhao Yang paled and begged forgiveness, knowing he'd provoked the wrong person. Wang Meng revealed Shed reached latest stage Purple Palace and was training on Layer 9 with elders. Zhao Yang admitted they might not beat Bai Yifan yet, so they were holding back. Wang Meng claimed she already had a plan to make Bai Yifan die without warning. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan found a vast lake with a whirlpool, likely the entrance to Layer 8, but his transmission talisman lit up again, another distress signal. After brief thought, he chose to save them first and flew toward the signal. Landing, he was surprised to see the caller was Xu Chun. She panicked, warning him not to come closer because it was dangerous. While slaying demons, Bai Yifan questioned why her group was on Layer 7. Within a few moves, he cleared all nearby demons. Su Chun immediately hugged him and burst into tears upon seeing her savior. She said their group was chased by a demon leader, Zhang Tai, and Shen Xinyu died, and Lu Yi was captured. Hearing of their deaths, Bai Yifan demanded why they'd gone to Layer 7. Su Chun explained they'd panicked and accidentally fled downward. Bai Yifan ordered her to lead him to rescue Lu Yi at once. They entered a pitch-dark cave where she claimed Lu Yi was imprisoned. Deeper inside, Bai Yifan caught a strange foul smell. Suddenly, he grabbed Su Chun's wrist, sensing she was about to pull a trick. In her hand was an immobilization talisman, clearly a trap. Bai Yifan seized Xu Chun by the throat, demanding the truth. He pointed out the flaw: a mid-stage marrow-cleansing cultivator like her couldn't safely reach Layer 7. At the peak of tension, a massive explosion shook the entire cave. Bai Yifan instantly realized the exit was destroyed. This trap was prearranged. In the darkness, hundreds of red eyes appeared as a swarm of blood-sucking demon bats arrived. Seeing the dense swarm, Bai Yifan knew this was a mutual destruction scheme aimed at him. Xu Chun panicked, realizing things had spiraled beyond the original deal. Outside, Wang Meng sneered that Xu Chun was foolish to trust them. 2 hours earlier, Lia's group had been captured as bait to lure Bai Yifan. Gao Yang forced them to talk, but Zhang Tai stubbornly resisted. The attackers admitted their true goal was drawing Bai Yifan out. Zhang Tai cursed their cowardice, vowing never to help them succeed. Wang Meng offered that whoever lured Bai Yifan would be spared. Lu Yi roared that he'd die before betraying his brother. Furious, Wang Teng kicked Lu Yi, leaving him badly injured. Zhang Tai's group still declared they'd rather die than submit. Wang Meng then targeted Su Chun, asking if she feared death. She promised Xu Chun freedom if she lured Bai Yifan in. Wang Meng stirred resentment, claiming her teammates never shared spirit herbs with her. She added that those teammates would die sooner or later anyway. She even promised protection within the Holy Land if Xu Chun cooperated. Torn between life and death, Xu Chun wavered and fell into their trap. Back to the present, Wang Meng smiled, satisfied Bai Yifan had entered the cave. Inside, Bai Yifan judged the bats individually weak but numerous enough to kill late-stage Purple Palace. He sneered, knowing the mastermind underestimated him. He immediately activated talismans to form a defensive barrier. The barrier could block most attacks for a short time. Outside it, Xu Chun knelt crying, begging to be let in. Bai Yifan demanded she reveal the mastermind first. Su Chun instantly betrayed Wang Teng and Gao Yang to save herself. Bai Yifan laughed, since he'd never promised to save her. She wailed and begged, but he remained indifferent inside the barrier. Soon the bat swarm devoured her amid screams. Bai Yifan coldly concluded that those who harm others ultimately doom themselves. Outside, hearing screams, Wang Teng assumed Bai Yifan had died. Zhao Yang smirked, though regretting the buried resources. Inside, Bai Yifan realized the barrier wouldn't last long against the swarm. Though he could retreat to Earth, he chose to stay and train through battle. Drawing his blood sword, he charged into the swarm using Blood Key Blade with agile footwork. Finally, he activated a Spirit Fire Talisman, summoning a fire dragon that incinerated the bats. Knowing venomous snakes waited outside, he prepared to clear them to avoid being trapped. But just as he moved, a terrifying aura struck from behind, putting him on alert. A giant bat hovered overhead, unleashing sonic waves that shattered his blood QI. He realized the cave amplified the sound waves through echoes, multiplying their deadly power. The cramped terrain was fatal, staying meant death, so he had to escape. Before he could, another shockwave hit, blasting him toward the abyss below. Refusing to fall to his death, he stabbed the cliff with his blood key blade to hold on. Unfortunately, the slick rock made the blade slip, and he continued plunging. After a life-or-death slide, he finally hit the bottom alive barely. In the dark abyss, he lit another flame talisman to scout his surroundings. The firelight revealed a land carpeted in white bones, chilling the air. Yaksha, demon beasts, and human cultivator skeletons lay everywhere, evidence of a great battle. Amid the bones stood a human corpse still gripping a spear, impaling a demon in frozen combat. Though long dead, neither body decayed and their blood remained fresh, proving their terrifying strength and life. From the battlefield traces, he guessed 2 top human and demon experts had perished together, and the surrounding bones were just their unlucky minions. While inspecting, he spotted a scroll underground radiating fierce energy that instantly caught his eye. Just as he moved to check it, a sudden voice called out "Young friend," cranking the tension to max. Bai Yifan spun around and shouted who was speaking. This place was supposed to be Corpseanly territory. The voice came from a standing corpse, claiming to be a remnant soul waiting 9,000 years. Hearing 9,000 years shocked him. Even peak divine power experts couldn't ghost around that long. Facing the mystery, he politely introduced himself as a 5-element sacred land disciple while secretly staying on guard. The remnant soul seemed pleased and asked if he knew his identity, flexing heavy senior vibes. He introduced himself as Suanyuan Jingshan, ancestor of Huangji Sacred Land and one of the legendary human emperors. The name made Bai Yifan shudder. It belonged to a mythical powerhouse from ancient texts. Legends said Huangji had the invincible 3 sovereigns of heaven, earth, and human, and this ghost was one of them. Suanyuan Jingshan recounted leading 3,000 guards into the demon lair and perishing with the 8 Desolations demon emperor in this abyss. He pointed to the scroll, calling it the Demon Sealing List, his lifebound artifact that suppresses all demons. He added that the Golden Armor, Human Emperor Halberd, and 8 Desolations Thunder Prison Cauldron were supreme Dao artifacts that once shook the continent. Then he offered to pass all his inheritance to Bai Yifan, calling their meeting destiny. The price was simple: kneel 3 times and become his disciple, and he'd grant the Huangji 3 life diagram and all treasures. Just when it seemed he'd agree, Bai Yifan stepped back coldly, smelling something fishy. He bluntly asked if the old man planned to fake a transfer and seize his body instead. Exposed, the remnant soul hurriedly denied it, but his flustered reaction screamed guilt. Bai Yifan refused, citing sect rules against outside masters, really just dodging a trap. The remnant soul flew into a rage, his spirit trembling as his 10,000 dire scheme crumbled. Dropping the act, he lunged to possess Bai Yifan, unwilling to lose his only prey. Realizing he was right, Bai Yifan knew one slow step meant instant possession. Without hesitation, he activated his interdimensional ring and bailed from the cultivation world. In a blink, he was back in his modern bedroom, collapsing onto the bed in relief after a near-death escape. After calming down, he decided to prep more artifacts before returning to properly deal with the old monster. Just as he relaxed, Bai Yifan nearly jumped out of his skin when Suanyuan Jingshan's remnant soul followed him through. Suanyuan Jingshan floated in confusion as all his spiritual power vanished, clueless about this bizarre place. Bai Yifan was stunned too. Normally anything from the continent dissipated on Earth, yet this soul persisted. Seeing the glowing light bulb, the old human emperor mistook it for some mysterious divine artifact, leaving Bai Yifan speechless. After the brief shock, Bai Yifan quickly focused. This soul not disappearing clearly meant trouble. Suanyuan Jingshan began yelling for his lost spiritual power, oblivious that he was now the weak one. Seizing the chance, Bai Yifan calmly turned on a vacuum cleaner and sucked the old soul right in. In moments, the legendary human emperor was trapped inside a plastic box, raging helplessly. Bai Yifan coolly proposed a Q exchange, but the old man still clung to his emperor-level arrogance. When Bai Yifan raised the vacuum again, Suanyuan Jingshan instantly switched tones and begged to cooperate. After confirming his identity, Bai Yifan bluntly demanded why a human leader would scheme to possess a junior. Cornered, he bitterly admitted that 10,000 years of imprisonment made freedom outweigh morality. Sensing weakness, Bai Yifan smoothly shifted the topic to the remaining artifacts in the abyss. Suanyuan Jingshan confessed that the human emperor Halberd, Golden Armor, and Thunder Prison Cauldron were all completely ruined. Hearing that, he threatened to erase the soul, scaring Zhanyuan Jingshan into admitting the Demon Sealing List still worked. The old man explained it was a heavenly tome from the Immortal realm, brutally effective against demons. It could devour demon souls, seal and enslave them, plus a few other nasty tricks. When Bai Yifan pulled out his phone, Suanyuan Jingshan thought another strange artifact was coming. Bai Yifan calmly told him to thoroughly explain the Huangji dominating world diagram before talking freedom. Though fuming inside, Suanyuan Jingshan endured, hoping for a future comeback. He began detailing the technique's 3 parts: Heaven Emperor, Earth Emperor, and Human Emperor. Mastering would grant a near-indestructible body, immune to blades, fire, and floods alike. Bai Yifan looked satisfied, giving the old schemer false hope. But once finished, Bai Yifan declared him useless, leaving Suanyuan Jingshan stunned. Holding up his phone recording, Bai Yifan coldly noted this era plays by different rules. To prevent future trouble, he shoved the soul's box straight into the microwave. Amid desperate screams, Suanyuan Jingshan's soul dissolved into faint sparks. Watching the end, Bai Yifan sighed, sending off a fallen human emperor of 10 millennia. With the threat gone, he dripped blood onto the Demon Sealing List to claim it. As the blood sank in, his consciousness was dragged into a golden chaotic space. Bai Yifan realized this was the artifact's spirit realm bond successful. Memories of immortal realm history and demon-slaying methods flooded his mind. The techniques engraved themselves like instinct, granting full command of the demon sealing list. With his new toy ready, he eagerly returned to the continent to test it on demons. On the 8th level of Demon Pit, a dark blood demon wolf was massacring Sacred Land disciples. Its blood aura suppressed them so badly they were swatted away one by one. Retreating, they found only a cliff behind, no escape left. Just as despair peaked, another pack of demon wolves arrived, seeming to worsen the disaster. But shockingly, the newcomers attacked their own kind instead of the disciples. Chaos erupted as the new pack slaughtered the old, leaving everyone baffled. Watching from afar, Bai Yifan smirked. The demon sealing list had turned them into obedient minions. He recalled killing the giant fallen leader last time, though Wang Teng and Gao Yang were still missing. Seeing everything going smoothly, he decided to use his demon slave army to dominate the entire area. On the battlefield, the disciples stared as the new wolves wiped out the old pack completely. From afar, Bai Yifan casually waved, signaling his demon slaves to withdraw. The disciples panicked when the wolves suddenly turned to face them. Instead, the wolves howled and leapt into the abyss en masse, stunning everyone speechless. Bai Yifan left leisurely after cleaning up, leaving the disciples clueless about what just happened. When they peered into the abyss, the sight below made them tremble, thinking ancestors had intervened. On the 9th level, 10,000 Ages Demon Lake, a colossal demon bear rampaged through the forest. Meanwhile, Bai Yifan calmly sipped water. Had spent 2 days recruiting more wolf and bear minions. With an army of overlord-level demon beasts, he felt ready to sweep the 9th level. Once controlling 10,000 Ages Demon Lake, any challenger would be crushed by his beast horde. Thinking of how Wang Teng and Gao Yang once cornered him, his gaze turned icy. Just then, a distant howl made Bai Yifan halt and sharpen his senses. He teleported to the source and found disciples of the 3 great sacred lands locked in fierce battle. At the battlefield's center, cultivators fought while retreating, with a fire-patterned demon monkey nest looming ahead. Hearing that, Bai Yifan recalled his intersect mission to exterminate the fire-patterned demon monkeys. Intrigued by the rare large-scale battle, he jumped straight into the fray for a closer look. He landed right into a swarm of flying ghosts led by a ferocious 2-headed flying fiend. Spotting fresh targets, Bai Yifan instantly planned to turn them into demon slaves. He ordered his demon wolves to charge, forming a black tornado crashing into the ghost swarm. Seeing things go south, the 2-headed flying fiend flapped away to escape. Bai Yifan summoned 2 abyssal demon bears to block its retreat. No flying getaway today. The peak purple mansion bears unleashed monstrous punches that shook the air itself. Seizing the moment, Bai Yifan activated the demon sealing list to enslave the ghost horde. Golden light blanketed the sky as slave marks branded each ghost into his new troops. Adding airborne minions to his army, Bai Yifan grew even more eager to expand. Suddenly, a heaven-shaking explosion boomed from afar, grabbing his attention. He sent a demon slave to scout the source of that massive power. It turned out to be aftershocks from a clash between 2 powerhouses, not aimed at him. Looking closer, he saw a human cultivator locked in a life-or-death fight with a giant demon. The young man unleashed a desperate sovereign emperor fist with all his strength. His foe was a Shura, a commander-level demon equal to a human divine power expert. The Shura struck like thunder, smashing the cultivator's abdomen and gravely injuring him. With ruthless force, the Shura flung him into the abyss and moved in for the kill. Suddenly, a swarm of low-level demons rushed in and surrounded the Shura, stunning it. One even bit its arm, shocking the Shura that such weaklings dared rebel. As it faltered, Bai Yifan appeared behind and stabbed his sword straight into its chest. But when the Shura countered and killed over 20 demons in one strike, Bai Yifan felt the terror of a true commander. Steadying himself, he activated the demon sealing list, gambling everything to enslave it before it recovered. The Shura sneered, thinking a weakling like him trying to brand it was laughable. Ignoring the mockery, Bai Yifan poured all his power into forcing the slave's seal down. Chains of light from the demon sealing list tightened around the Shura, making it roar in agony. Seeing it resist, Bai Yifan gritted his teeth and pushed harder, determined to crush its will. A slave mark formed on the Shura's head, and it realized in horror it was about to be controlled. After an exhausting struggle, Bai Yifan collapsed, panting but victorious. The Shura knelt and pledged allegiance, officially becoming his demon slave. The Shura checked the fallen human and found he was an intersect disciple of Zhenwu's sacred land. Bai Yifan then ordered the Shura to open its storage ring for loot inspection. The Shura spat green energy to break its soul imprint, unlocking the ring instantly. Inside were demon materials, spirit herbs, and a few ordinary artifacts. Bai Yifan was initially disappointed until his eyes lit up at something valuable. It was the fearsome fist technique once used by Huang Yinan, instantly catching his interest. Back on Earth, Bai Yifan began training the giant strength fist, a 7-form technique of rising power. Lacking spiritual energy, he used his Purple Mansion soul power as a substitute. Luckily, the technique simplified itself on Earth, otherwise it would have been incomprehensible. Just then, his phone rang and the caller was Sister Go, surprising him. He answered quickly and heard her irritated voice. She informed him his online orders had arrived long ago, making Bai Yifan pale. He hurriedly apologized, admitting he'd forgotten while busy fighting in Demon Pit. Apparently, before traveling, his mother had shipped many overseas gifts home for him. Bai Yifan braved the rain to Sister Guo's house to pick up the packages and apologize for the trouble. Upon entering, he ran into Gu Ru's mother waiting for her daughter. Seeing Bai Yifan with her, the woman immediately questioned him with sharp suspicion. Hearing he was just a tenant, she sized him up and clearly looked down on him. Guoru hurriedly called him a friend to ease the awkward tension. Her mother coldly warned her not to associate with someone like him. Just then, a well-dressed man named Shi Donking was formally introduced. Guoru's mother blatantly tried matchmaking, saying her daughter needed a good catch. During the chat, Shi Donking secretly ogled Guru, making Bai Yifan inwardly disgusted. Her mother kept praising Shi Donking as a successful young boss, boosting his ego. Uncomfortable, Guru excused herself to fetch Bai Yifan's packages. Seizing the moment, Shi Donking probed about Bai Yifan's job. Hearing he had none, Shi Donking smugly lectured that such men were basically useless. The mother chimed in agreement as he bragged further about his success. Bai Yifan calmly replied he didn't care about cars or flashy status symbols. Shi Donking flaunted his expensive watch, then pretended to be busy to look important. Right then, Guru returned with a mountain of overseas parcels for Bai Yifan. But she stumbled and nearly fell, sending everyone into panic. Bai Yifan reacted instantly, catching her before she hit the floor. He steadied her and calmly checked on her, leaving Guru flustered but fine. Shi Donking gritted his teeth as his hero moment was stolen. Worried about the packages, Guru fretted while Bai Yifan casually said he'd inspect them. Opening the first box revealed a luxury watch that Shi Donking recognized as Patek Philippe. Hearing how insanely expensive it was, even Guru's mother was stunned. Seeing the cracked glass, Guru quickly apologized, fearing she'd ruined something priceless. Bai Yifan shrugged it off as not that valuable, nearly driving Shi Donking insane. He casually gifted Guru a limited edition channel bag as thanks. Noticing Shi Donking's pale face, her mother asked if he was okay. He forced a stiff smile. Bai Yifan idly twirled his car keys, subtly stabbing at Shi Donking's pride. Spotting the Porsche logo, Shi Donking went pale, realizing he was outclassed. Even Guru's mother was shocked to learn Bai Yifan owned a Porsche supercar. Bai Yifan casually loaded the Porsche like a pickup truck, leaving Shi Donking frozen. He even echoed Shi Donking's words that cars are just transportation, deepening the humiliation. After saying goodbye to Guru, Bai Yifan prepared to leave with his haul. The Porsche sped off, splashing muddy water all over the stunned Shi Donking. Back on the 9th level of 10,000 Ages Demon Pit, Bai Yifan began practicing Giant Spirit Fist. One mountain-opening punch exploded with shocking force, surprising even him. He realized that if soul power alone was this strong, true spiritual power would be terrifying. Tula Badu knelt behind him showering praise, earning only a cold order to stand up. Bai Yifan commanded Tula Badu to display his divine abilities to gauge commander-level strength. Tula Badu unleashed Shura simple-looking arcs packed with devastating force. Witnessing it, Bai Yifan understood why commander demons were so feared. Tula Badu followed with blood law orbs, raining countless exploding blood spheres. The chain explosions shattered the ground, earning Bai Yifan's admiration. Not stopping there, Tula Badu demonstrated even more terrifying combat techniques. Each move unleashed catastrophic destruction that shook the entire area. After finishing, Tula Badu confidently asked for his master's evaluation. Bai Yifan admitted the divine powers were horrifying and that luck played a big role in subduing him. Only then did he truly grasp that he now commanded a monstrously dangerous war machine. But Tula Badu revealed that power was nothing compared to the fire-patterned demon monkey's grand formation. The demon monkey had secretly set up the Myriad Souls world-destroying array to wipe out all human cultivators. Hearing this, Bai Yifan felt a chill. Now he saw the true aim of the campaign. It was all about seizing the Soulstone vein, a treasure that nourishes spiritual souls. Tula Badu added that the demon monkey prepared a teleportation array to flee after springing the trap. Realizing the massive scheme, Bai Yifan planned to play bait and infiltrate the battlefield. Amid the chaos, Yi Xiaokao spotted Bai Yifan captured by a demon and panicked. She ordered support and rushed forward to rescue him. Under Yi Xiaokao's sword pressure, the demon was forced to drop Bai Yifan. The demon fled clutching its wound, shouting that humans were terrifying and it would return for revenge. Yi Xiaokao hurried over in concern while Bai Yifan faked injuries, inwardly mocking Tula Badu's poor acting. The group confirmed the demon was repelled and the support zone temporarily cleared. Bai Yifan pretended to thank Yi Xiaokao, and she urged him to stay within formation for safety. Luo Sen sneered that saving an outer sect disciple was a waste of effort. Bai Yifan shot back that everyone here once started as outer sect trash. The remark instantly angered many inner disciples who felt insulted. As tensions flared, Elder Ding arrived and ordered everyone to stop arguing. Luo Sen clenched his teeth into silence, eyes still resentful. Elder Ding questioned why an outer disciple like Bai Yifan was so deep in Demon Pit. Bai Yifan immediately warned that the fire-clad demon monkey's fortress hid the Myriad Souls world-destroying array. Elder Ding's face changed. If true, all disciples would be annihilated. Asked for proof, Bai Yifan claimed he learned it by chance but couldn't reveal the source. Luo Sen objected, saying other sacred lands had already attacked and delay meant losing the Soulstone vein. He mocked Bai Yifan as a coward inventing lies to save himself. Bai Yifan turned with icy eyes, freezing the atmosphere instantly. Luo Sen shuddered at the killing intent in that gaze, feeling sudden fear. Bai Yifan declared lives mattered more than resources. He had no reason to lie. He urged Elder Ding to reconsider, as everyone's survival was at stake. Elder Ding hesitated, knowing the consequences would be catastrophic if true. Just then, envoys from other factions pressed them to advance into the main battlefield. Luo Sen seized the moment, insisting they couldn't halt over baseless claims. Elder Ding finally ordered the advance but demanded Bai Yifan stay within formation. Bai Yifan agreed outwardly, already planning to stop them himself. At the main battlefield, major forces were fiercely assaulting the fire-clad demon monkey's lair. Disciples scrambled for merit. Whoever broke the array first would claim the Soul Stone vein. The sacred lands competed viciously, none willing to yield glory. Elder Du grew anxious, lacking manpower to activate the Five Elements attack array. At that moment, Elder Ding arrived with the Five Elements sacred land disciples. Elder Du scolded their delay, saying they nearly missed the chance. He immediately ordered all disciples to charge the fortress. Watching them rush into the array's range, Bai Yifan knew they'd all die if not stopped. With no choice left, he decided to personally block the army. He hurled explosive beams, blasting earth and throwing the front lines into chaos. Elder Du recognized them as heaven-punishing 7 mystic beings and ordered an immediate halt. He warned that contact would damage meridians and temporarily block spiritual power. Amid the confusion, a dark and terrifying aura suddenly surged from the fortress. A cold voice echoed, declaring all human cultivators must die. Everyone stared at the fortress as sinister energy began erupting violently. When the smoke cleared, they were horrified to see nearly all other factions' disciples annihilated by the Grand Array. Bai Yifan quietly sighed in relief. His interference had saved his sacred land from extinction. Din Sha Qingshan arrived, sensing violent spiritual tremors and demanding an explanation. Ding Mao trembled as he reported the other forces were wiped out by the Myriad Souls' world-destroying array. He explained the fire-clad demon monkey lured the 3 sacred lands to besiege the city for a total elite massacre. Asked who warned them, Bai Yifan stepped forward and claimed responsibility. Shi Qingshan scrutinized him, doubting how an outer disciple could earn such merit. Setting that aside, he noticed the fire-cloud demon monkey's corpse was missing, meaning it escaped. Shi Qingshan immediately soared upward, scanning the region with spiritual sense. He ordered disciples to collect soul stones and rescue any survivors. He publicly praised Bai Yifan, crediting him for averting catastrophe. Yi Xiaokao remarked they'd both avoided disaster and gained a massive haul of soul stones. Bai Yifan slyly mocked Luo Sen, saying the air smelled oddly sour with jealousy. Afterward, Bai Yifan requested to leave, prompting Yi Xiaokao to ask what he planned. He smiled coldly and replied to collect a deb. Still resentful, Luo Sen secretly followed to see what trouble hid next. In a quiet corner outside Demon Pit, Gao Yang and Wang Tang were drinking and reminiscing. They smugly believed no one would dare accuse them, even if their crimes were known. Suddenly a stone shattered their wine cup, and Bai Yifan emerged with a frosty grin. Wang Tang froze. He thought Bai Yifan had died in Demon Pit long ago. He shouted in disbelief that Bai Yifan was still alive. Bai Yifan grabbed Wang Tang by the throat, coldly saying nothing is impossible. Even restrained, Wang Tang acted defiant, yelling he wasn't afraid. Bai Yifan demanded he confess what he did to Lu Yi and the others. Wang Tang sneered, telling him to ask the King of Hell. He taunted that in broad daylight Bai Yifan would dare kill him publicly. He bragged his sister was a prized purple mansion genius of the sacred land. Bai Yifan only chuckled, utterly unimpressed by the threat. Feeling the spiritual pressure, Wang Tang realized in terror that Bai Yifan had reached Purple Mansion realm. With the tables turned, he dropped to his knees, begging for mercy and offering spirit pills. Bai Yifan coldly told him to be wiser in his next life and struck a fatal blow. Looking at the corpse, Bai Yifan said it was the price for his sins. The crowd erupted. Someone had dared commit open murder in the city. Jia Yang collapsed in fear, watching his ally die before him. Bai Yifan turned him, declaring he was next. At that moment, Yi Xiaokao rushed over, shouting that killing in the city was a grave crime. Bai Yifan calmly replied he knew exactly what he was doing. Yi Xiaokao warned that killing a fellow disciple meant paying with his life. Bai Yifan answered he'd finished dealing with this beast first. From afar, Luo Sen smirked, certain Bai Yifan would be punished by the elders. Meanwhile, Gao Yang knelt trembling, desperately begging for mercy. Bai Yifan forced Gao Yang to reveal Lu Yi's whereabouts, determined to uncover the truth. Before Gao Yang could deny it, Bai Yifan sliced off his arm, demanding payment for deceit. Furious, he condemned them for abandoning comrades to demon beasts while still calling themselves brothers. Terrified out of his wits, Zhao Yang groveled, but his pleas only confirmed his guilt. Bai Yifan coldly told him to confess to the dead in hell instead. Just as Bai Yifan moved to finish him, a powerful surge of spiritual energy knocked his sword away, halting the execution. The enforcement elder appeared, halting the scene and ordering Bai Yifan taken back for public trial. Soon after, Bai Yifan was dragged to the punishment platform, where disciples' fates are decided. Before 3 elders, he was asked to confess, but he flatly declared himself innocent. The elders fumed, accusing him of killing fellow disciples and defying sacred law. Bai Yifan sneered, asking where that law was when he was framed and thrown into Demon Pit. He argued that slaying scum was justice, so twisting laws to condemn him was the real joke. Jia Yang quickly fabricated a tale that Bai Yifan killed Lu Yi and Xu Chun over treasure. Bai Yifan smirked, mocking Gao Yang's ever-improving talent for flipping black and white. One elder suggested his great merit for the sacred land might offset his crime. A female elder objected, insisting murder was grave and not erasable by merit. Seizing the chance, Gao Yang wept dramatically, begging for Bai Yifan's punishment. An elder declared the killing undeniable, and with other victims dead, no testimony remained. Just as the verdict seemed sealed, a voice rang out, "Who says the dead can't testify?" The supposedly deceased Lu Yi trio appeared, stepping onto the platform to defend Bai Yifan. Jia Yang froze like lightning struck, his lies crumbled instantly. Bai Yifan raised a brow, joking they almost arrived too late for him to finish the job himself. Even the elders were stunned to see the dead standing alive before them. The trio declared they not only survived but broke through realms in 10,000 ages, Demon Pit. The female elder demanded Bai Yifan explain everything that happened inside. Bai Yifan calmly prepared to reveal the truth, stirring the entire sacred land. In flashback, Lu Yi and the others were bound in Demon Pit, furious at betrayal. Forest noises made them think doom had come until it was just a rabbit. The rabbit transformed into a giant beast charging at them, sealing their despair. At the last second, the beast was felled by a mysterious strike, leaving them stunned. Bai Yifan stepped from the shadows he had saved them. After freeing and checking them, he confirmed Shu Chan's treachery and reassured them. Bai Yifan chose to hunt the traitors alone, ordering them to leave Demon Pit immediately. The trio wanted revenge and refused to retreat so easily. He firmly refused, forcing them to withdraw due to their heavy injuries. Suddenly, distant roars signaled looming danger. They realized hordes of demons had surrounded them in Demon Pit. Though wounded, the trio gripped weapons, ready to gamble their lives. Bai Yifan laughed at their resolve but clearly had no plan to let them die. He assured them that while he stood there, even the King of Hell wouldn't dare claim them. Seeing the overwhelming demon swarm, they feared survival was nearly impossible. Bai Yifan raised a sunbright artifact, declaring no demon present would leave alive. The blinding radiance disoriented the beasts, their innate fear of light shattered their combat strength. In moments, the artifact crushed over 100 demons, stunning everyone with his power. The team watched in awe. Such a terrifying artifact was unheard of. Shen Xinwu recognized it as the Swanchan Blazing Sun Sunflower, a legendary ancient treasure. Bai Yifan smiled lightly, reminding them they once told him to prepare demon-countering artifacts. Xinwu explained it shone like the sun, making demons utterly powerless even demon tigers couldn't approach. Yifan handed them the magic artifacts and sent them back to Heyi City to heal, while he stayed behind to hunt the traitor. He declared that loyalty beats loot, and had never ditched his crew for profit. The group, deeply moved, swore following Yifan was their best life choice, and just prayed he'd return safely. Yifan coldly stated that kindness to him earns double rewards, but betrayal earns a bill with interest. Back at the trial platform, Yifan laid out the whole messy story before the elders. An elder immediately ordered Lu Yi's father and the others to confirm whether Yifan was telling the truth. The three knelt and testified that Wang Tang and Gao Yang had schemed to frame Yifan. Yifan turned to pressure Gao Yang, who once claimed he saw Yifan kill them himself. Furious, an elder slammed the table and demanded Gao Yang spill the entire conspiracy. Cornered and panicking, Gao Yang confessed he was just a pawn and that Wang Tang was the true mastermind. But before he could say more, a strike from the sky pierced straight through him. A female elder coldly announced Gao Yang's crimes were countless, so he was executed on the spot. Yifan grew suspicious. The death was far too swift, like someone was hiding something. The female elder ruled that regardless of motive, Yifan was wrong to kill without reporting to the sect. She sentenced him to a 10-year cultivation ban as punishment. His teammates immediately protested the unfair ruling, reminding everyone Yifan had saved their lives. Yifan smirked and asked if handing over an ancient magic artifact might change the verdict. He cited the Holy Land rule: offer a heaven and earth treasure to the sect, and your punishment can be reduced. The elders, stunned, asked if he truly possessed such an ancient treasure. One elder tried to stay firm, arguing that human life outweighs any single artifact. Yifan calmly produced 10 profound heaven-blazing sun sunflowers, leaving the court in dead silence. The elders gawked. 10 ancient spirit plants could shake the entire sect's treasury. Then Yifan casually added 20 more, like rare treasures were just garden weeds. The sight of 20 spirit plants nearly shattered the elders' composure from sheer value overload. Not done yet, Yifan claimed he still had about 30 more of these ancient spirit herbs. Their total worth could buy dozens of cities, leaving everyone utterly speechless. Even the female elder lost her cool and demanded to know where he got so many treasures. Yifan calmly said he'd stumbled into an ancient treasury within the sacred domain. The elders exchanged silent glances, clearly recalculating how to handle Yifan. One elder worried that if Yifan destroyed these treasures, the Holy Land would suffer catastrophic losses. He added that Yifan had already rendered 3 great merits, and punishing him would only anger the disciples. In the end, most elders leaned toward pardoning Yifan, take the treasures, and keep the sect's reputation shiny. After discussion, they sought Elder Long's opinion. She coldly showed reluctant acceptance of the obvious outcome. Finally, the Holy Land acknowledged 2 of Yifan's great merits and rewarded him with true essence pills and 50,000 spirit stones. Yet Yifan suddenly stepped forward with one more request, instantly grabbing the elder's attention. He voluntarily asked to be confined at Ghost Sorrow Cliff for 3 months as self-punishment. The entire court froze. No one expected him to request his own penalty. His teammates panicked, reminding everyone Ghost Sorrow Cliff housed major criminals and was extremely dangerous. Yifan calmly explained he had indeed broken sect rules by killing privately and accepted punishment. Elder Kai sighed in admiration, saying Yifan's willingness to correct himself meant he'd become a pillar of the Holy Land. But inside, Yifan sneered if given another chance he'd still kill Wang Tang without blinking. In truth, he sought confinement because he carried too many rare anomalies and would soon become a target. This move won him elder goodwill while letting him keep the rewards, an elegant double win. Ghost Sorrow Cliff was a quiet backwater perfect for Yifan to go into closed-door cultivation. It was also the ideal cover to secretly dig into the true mastermind behind the scenes. The elder agreed and officially sentenced Yifan to 3 months of confinement as requested. Yifan happily accepted and followed the guards toward Ghost Sorrow Cliff. Before leaving, he reassured his teammates it was just a meditation retreat in disguise. The group vowed to train hard so they wouldn't fall hopelessly behind him. Elsewhere, someone roared in fury that Yifan only got 3 months. Wang Meng angrily blamed his master, furious that his brother's killer got off lightly. The elder explained that if Gao Yang hadn't been silenced quickly, their entire plot would have been exposed. Hearing this, Wang Meng ground his teeth, cursing Yifan's outrageous luck. The elder warned him to know his place or no one would be able to save him. Even so, Wang Meng swore to kill Bai Yifan for revenge. A month later, Luya's group came to Ghost Sorrow Cliff to visit Yifan. Shen Jinyu tried pleading with the guards to let them see him briefly. The guards refused outright. Serious offenders only, no casual visits allowed. With no choice, the group left in disappointment. Lu Yi worried whether Yifan could endure the harsh life inside. Shen Xinyu described the place as scorching by day and freezing by night. The more they imagined him starving among snakes and rats, the more tragic it felt. They even hugged and cried, vowing to throw him a grand feast once he got out. Meanwhile inside, Yifan was living so comfortably it barely resembled punishment. He even reminded himself not to indulge too much lest his cultivation slow down. Far away, Jiang Ling gazed toward Ghost Sorrow Cliff, quietly murmuring in sympathy. 2 months later, the warden summoned Yifan. His confinement had ended. Outside, Lu Yi's group had long been waiting to welcome him back. Yifan emerged muscular and radiating power, almost unrecognizable. The group was stunned. He hadn't suffered. His cultivation had clearly advanced. During the chatter, they teased Shen Xinyu and Zheng Tai for planning to become Dao companions. Zheng Ti explained that dual cultivation partners boost each other's training speed. Lu Yi bluntly said dual cultivation was just teamwork with benefits, making Shen Xinyu blush and throw a bun at him. Yifan's eyes lit up. Had just discovered a brand new leveling method. Xinyu suggested he join next month's Outer Sect Grand Competition, where he'd surely shine. Zheng Tai added it was the annual major event with rich rewards and a chance to enter a divine ability secret realm. Yifan agreed immediately but said he had a few loose ends to handle first. On the way to the affairs hall, he remembered the mountain of materials from the eternal demon pit still unredeemed. Arriving there, he told the hall elder he wished to submit materials from the demon pit. He warned that his hall was slightly large and wasn't sure how many contribution points it'd fetch. He first produced 800 yaksha horns, stunning the hall elder. Hearing 800, the elder shot up in disbelief at such an absurd haul. Yifan then laid out 1,000 bottles of spirit beast milk, nearly knocking the old man over. Not finished, he added 10,000 demon bear hides, utterly shattering the elder's composure. Yifan calmly asked how many contribution points this modest pile could earn. The hall elder was dizzy. No outer disciple had ever brought back loot this insane. Regaining himself, he began carefully inspecting and calculating everything. At last, he announced a total of 24,000 contribution points. The number shocked all nearby outer disciples. It was practically mythical. After collecting the points, Yifan left, thinking he still had rarer materials tucked away for later. He decided to trade the points for a stronger cultivation technique and a weapon worthy of his current strength. Just as he pondered, a hand blocked his path, forcing him to stop. Looking up, Yifan saw Jiang Ling wanted a quiet place to talk. At his residence, she was shocked the spiritual Kai here was denser than her own. Yifan invited her in and casually poured tea like a seasoned host. One sniff and Jiang Ling praised the tea's unique aroma. Shed never tasted anything like it. Yifan grinned, saying it was just tea with spirit beast milk, privately noting milk tea never fails. After tea, Jiang Ling got down to business. She pulled out a stack of treasures prepared for Yifan, stunning him. First was the Spring Thunder flying sword, controllable by soul power for long-range slashes. Next came a spirit-grade cultivation technique from the Divine Ability Pavilion, perfect for higher realms. She even brought spirit herbs tailored to support his sword art training. Finally, 2 rare pills, Divine Devar Pill and Mortal Forgetting Pill, for entering the Divine Ability's secret realm. Jiang Ling explained the Divine Devar Pill nearly guarantees a divine ability breakthrough. But the price is squeezing the primordial spirit's potential, capping future growth. Yifan immediately asked about the Mortal Forgetting Pill. She said it won't ensure instant breakthrough, but strengthens foundations and expands future potential. Jiang Ling prepared these gifts because she believed saving lives deserved proper reward. Yifan was genuinely moved by her sincere concern. Still, she reminded him that his yellow-grade aptitude made breaking into divine ability extremely difficult. Yifan confidently declared he could break through soon even without the Divine Devar Pill. He even bet that if he succeeded within 6 months, Jiang Ling must become his Dao companion. Oblivious, Yifan thought Dao companionship meant studying spells together, making Jiang Ling laugh helplessly. He boldly added that if he lost, she could deal with him however she pleased. Jiang Ling chuckled and accepted, curious to see if a yellow-grade talent could defy fate. She reminded him that for yellow-grade aptitude, such a rapid breakthrough was harder than ascending the heavens. Yifan grew even more fired up, determined to prove he was no ordinary cultivator. He set his goal to reach top 10 in next month's Outer Sect Grand Competition. Then he escalated it, forget top 10, he'd take the championship. After she left, Yifan opened the Zheng Metal Sword Art Manual she gifted him. A few pages in, he realized this was no ordinary sword path. It fused metal, wood, water, fire, earth, plus lightning and poison to amplify sword might. To master it, he must first nurture a sword embryo in his danchan, accelerated by golden needle grass. Seeing golden needle grass resembled wheat, Yifan instantly planned to grow it. Unable to buy it openly, he searched online for seeds to cultivate himself. Half a month later, Luya's group visited, puzzled why he had locked himself inside daily. The door opened. Yifan stood smiling with 2 bundles of fresh golden needle grass. Teased as a farmer, he firmly claimed this was priceless treasure. They peeked into the yard, and were stunned it was a whole field of golden needle grass. Zheng Te gaped. Even elders struggled to find a few stalks, yet he farmed an entire crop. Yifan then asked Lu Yi to throw a punch to test his training results. His friends reminded him Lu Yi's Taoti bloodline made him nearly invincible at equal rank. Yifan only smirked and told him to go all out. Li Yi unleashed the Taoti giant spirit art, his aura exploding sky-high. He hurled a massive punch straight at Yifan. Yifan casually blocked it with one hand, stunning everyone. No one could believe he stopped Lu Yi's full power strike. With a light shove, Yifan sent Lu Yi flying onto the ground. Shen Jinyu suddenly screamed, sensing something abnormal in his body. To their shock, Yifan had condensed a sword embryo in his danchin. Yifan wasn't done and prepared to unleash another sword move. Seeing the shattering metal finger about to fire, Li Yi instantly surrendered, unwilling to be skewered. Everyone had to admit Yifan's power growth was downright monstrous. He was pleased the sword embryo converted his QI and blood into sword ki with terrifying efficiency. He decided to keep farming golden needle grass to raise the sword embryo even further. The next day, the Outer Sect Grand Competition officially began, drawing countless disciples. When Yifan appeared, whispers erupted about him killing Wang Tang and walking free. Yifan's side had officially become Outer Sect's celebrity gossip. As he walked, a voice called out from behind. Turning back, he saw Si Yuanbai warmly greeting and praising his strength. Si Yuanbai predicted Yifan would at least reach top 20. He added that Yifan's feats in the Eternal Demon Pit had spread everywhere, so modesty was pointless. Yifan said he aimed for top 20, half-joking, which others mistook for humility. Zhao Yi stepped out mocking him, saying someone not even at late Purple Mansion shouldn't dream of top 30. He bragged about his recent breakthrough and current top 7 rank, dismissing Yifan entirely. The surrounding disciples buzzed at the clash between the rising star and a top 10 veteran. Sai Yuanbai defended Yifan, claiming without 3 months confinement, top 20 was easy. Wu Min exposed him, saying he only praised Yifan to covet his mortal forgetting pill. He stressed that pill could push a peak Purple Mansion into divine ability wasted on Yifan. Yifan just smiled and bluntly asked Zhao Yi if he wanted the mortal forgetting pill. He held it up, and Zhao Yi's eyes instantly gleamed. Yifan mocked him, kneel and call him father 10 times and it's his. Zhao Yi exploded in rage but was pulled back by Wu Min. Fighting now meant disqualification. He could only snarl that on stage had beat Yifan beyond recognition. Yifan calmly replied that a yellow-grade talent defeating top 10 would be quite entertaining. He added such an upset would thrill the audience. Wu Min coldly warned that arrogance like this leads to ugly deaths. Yifan simply stated he was always ready to fight. From afar, Zhang Linj and Yi Xiaoko watched the entire exchange. Xiaoko teased Zhang Linj for paying extra attention to Yifan, making her blush and deny it. Suddenly, a majestic voice rang out, silencing the plaza. The presiding elder appeared, officially opening the Outer Sect Grand Competition. He announced 8,000 disciples would fight on 4 arenas. Fall off, and you're out. When only 20 remain, they enter elimination death matches. Injuries, even killings, are allowed unless the opponent surrenders. The top 10 win grand prizes, with the champion receiving a top-grade spirit artifact. Hearing that reward, Yifan decided this trip was absolutely worth it. The competition began as thousands surged onto the arenas. A disciple challenged Yifan to test his fame. Before even closing in, he was struck by a lightning-fast counter. One move later, he was face down while Yifan remarked he hadn't even tried. Seeing this, several disciples teamed up to gang up on Yifan. They surrounded him, urging surrender to avoid being crippled. Yifan chuckled. They clearly misunderstood the situation. In a blur, he dashed like a phantom and flung them all off the stage in an instant. The stands roared. Yifan cleared half the arena with a single move. Elsewhere, Zhao Yi also crushed his foes and stood amid the defeated. After round 1, Yifan entered top 20 while Zhao Yi secured top 10. Yifan advised Zhao Yi to conserve energy and wait to meet him properly. During the draw, Zhao Yi looked at his matchup and sneered they'd face each other next. The surrounding disciples pitied Yifan for meeting a top 10 expert so early. Stepping onto the arena, Zhao Yi smirked, promising to teach Yifan a special lesson. Zhao Yi stormed onto the arena, loudly provoking Yifan and vowing to crush him before the entire outer sect. He drew the Azure Demon-Slaying Sword, declaring Yifan would taste his ultimate move. Zhao Yi charged with full spirit power, aiming to end it in one strike. Yifan merely flicked a finger, power gathering at the tip like it was all pre-planned. Shattering metal finger shot out, golden sword ki pierced straight through Zhao Yi's defenses. Zhao Yi panicked as his protective spiritual barrier shattered in a single blow. Zhang Linj was stunned. Yifan had mastered shattering metal finger to perfection, which required absurd amounts of gold. Even Yi Xiaoko suspected he was some hidden tycoon to afford such training. Yifan smiled and casually asked if Zhao Yi cherished that sword. He grabbed the Azure Demon-Slaying Sword and crushed it like disposable junk. Yifan mocked that this was the power Zhao Yi bragged would cripple him. Enraged, Zhao Yi roared and tried to fight desperately after losing his sword. Yifan didn't wait. He unleashed a flurry of punches before Zhao Yi could react. Zhao Yi struggled to defend but had clearly lost all momentum. Finally, Yifan struck hard and blasted him off the arena. On the ground, Zhao Yi wept over his shattered sword and humiliating defeat. The audience was dumbfounded as Yifan leapt from rank 46 to 7th place. The elder declared Bai Yifan the victor. Returning to his friends, he learned Lu Yi had beaten the rank 30th opponent. The others only made top 50, but that was already their best record. Suddenly, a body crashed down from another arena before them. The defeated was Sai Yuanbai, ranked 3rd in the outer sect. His conqueror was Xiao Shi, who stood there eerily calm. Sai Yuanbai gritted his teeth, swearing to surpass him one day. The crowd was shocked Xiao Shi had been in closed cultivation yet still showed up. People whispered had won the outer sect championship 4 consecutive years. Yi Fan merely commented that the man indeed had some skill. Xiao Shi then approached, locking eyes with Yi Fan in clear interest. Yi Fan calmly responded, ready to receive his guidance. Xiao Shi said he'd heard of Yi Fan's feats and wanted a proper duel. But right then, Xiao Zhen appeared, declaring only he was worthy to face Xiao Shi. Sai Ho Zhen's arrival threw the entire plaza into uproar. Xiao Shi reminded everyone that after losing last year, Xiao Zhen had hunted wanted criminals to train. To prove it, Xiao Zhen tossed down a freshly killed corpse. The crowd recognized it, the infamous lion-headed assassin. He had ranked 1 or 5th on the Holy Land's wanted list. The bounty on his head was 20,000 spirit stones, stunning everyone. Sai Ho Zhen bragged had chased the target for 7 days and nights to kill him. He then brazenly forced a disciple to give up his match so he could fight immediately. Meanwhile, Yi Fan kept battling, effortlessly defeating opponent after opponent. Below the stage, jealous disciples couldn't fathom how Bai Yi Fan jumped from rank 26 to terrifying powerhouse. He kept crushing outer sect opponents, forcing the crowd to reassess the once underrated cultivator. Lu Yi's group shot back, claiming Fange was always #1, others were just salty. As arguments peaked, the presiding elder announced the 3 finalists. The first name called was Bai Yi Fan, instantly stirring the arena. The other 2 were Xiao Shi and Xiao Ho Zhen, already famed outer sect elites. Yi Xiaoka was stunned, a yellow-grade talent like Bai Yi Fan truly made top 3. Sai Ho Zhen looked at him disdainfully, seeing only a few mildly interesting foes. The elder announced tomorrow's finale, but first the trio must draw lots to decide opponents. They reached out to draw, tension thick, only one would skip straight to the final battle. Bai Yi Fan drew the battle lot and sighed so much for conserving energy for the finals. Xiao Shi lifted the Bai lot, strolling straight into the championship round. Sai Ho Zhen thought he was lucky too and arrogantly claimed he'd crushed Bai Yi Fan in 3 moves. But glancing back, he found the word defeat stuck boldly on his back. Bai Yi Fan calmly replied that Xiao Ho Zhen's title as outer sect peak disciple didn't scare him. The crowd realized Yi Fan had snapped a stick with spirit force and pinned it onto Xiao Ho Zhen's back. Humiliated publicly, Xiao Ho Zhen swore to show him what a real punch felt like tomorrow. Shen Xinyu worriedly warned that Xiao Ho Zhen wasn't easy prey if Bai Yi Fan slipped up. Bai Yi Fan just smirked, he knew his own strength and feared nothing. His brothers even bragged they'd bet their entire fortunes on him. Bai Yi Fan laughed heartily, inviting them to celebrate at his place first. That night, Xiao Ho Zhen was secretly summoned by Wang Meng. She greeted him warmly, clearly setting up a shady deal. Wang Meng offered a pseudo-spirit-grade technique and 20,000 spirit stones to hire him to kill Bai Yi Fan. Xiao Ho Zhen instantly understood she wanted revenge for her brother and grinned slyly. Unsatisfied with the price, he pressured her for more. Wang Meng even produced her master's blood-boosting treasure to persuade him. Seeing her desperation, Xiao Ho Zhen's greed grew as he raised the stakes again. He brazenly lifted Wang Meng, implying the true reward he wanted was her body. Desperate to kill Bai Yi Fan, Wang Meng clenched her teeth and accepted the humiliation. Sai Ho Zhen laughed gleefully, profit secured and a rival to slay. He even harassed other female disciples, revealing his shameless nature. Sneering, he claimed Bai Yi Fan wasn't worth conserving strength for. The next morning, the stands buzzed with speculation on Bai Yi Fan's chances. Most believed Xiao Ho Zhen would win. His pseudo-spirit grade art had reached minor completion. Elders discussed excitedly, noting the surge of outstanding newcomers this year. The water court even declared they'd already claimed Xiao Shi as their disciple, hands off. Elder Long sternly reminded everyone this was the 5 Elements Holy Land's biggest event in years. He announced a new rule: the top 3 could use any means, only victory mattered. From afar, Wang Meng smirked. She had pushed for this deadly rule so Bai Yi Fan would die on stage. As the match began, Xiao Ho Zhen coldly declared Bai Yi Fan would repay the Wang family in blood. He arrogantly told Bai Yi Fan to kneel and surrender or beg for mercy later. Without delay, Xiao Ho Zhen charged, aiming to crush him immediately. Their fists collided head-on, dust exploding as the crowd thought Bai Yi Fan was dead. But when the dust cleared, Bai Yi Fan stood firm, having dodged the killing blow. He even teased, admitting Xiao Zhen had some skill as outer sect runner-up. The crowd realized Xiao Ho Zhen was using a boosting artifact for that terrifying power. Wang Meng secretly gloated that was her master's treasure, amplifying Xiao Zhen's strength 5-fold. Unwilling to drag it out, Xiao Ho Zhen unleashed his ultimate move, 10 Tigers Force. The audience recognized it instantly, the Earth Court's infamous pseudo-spirit grade art. Even elders admitted that at minor completion, 10 Tigers Force could crush most outer disciples. Yet Bai Yi Fan calmly answered with shattering metal fist, meeting the terrifying force head-on. One strike tore apart the tiger aura, leaving Xiao Zhen wide-eyed in disbelief. Bai Yi Fan mocked that wandering outside too long had narrowed his senior's horizons. Yi Fan activated floating Kakin step, sped up, and kicked Xiao Ho Zhen so hard he spat blood. Caught off guard, Xiao Ho Zhen was blasted airborne, utterly on the defensive. The stands erupted. No one believed a yellow-grade talent could dominate an outer sect prodigy. Cornered, Xiao Ho Zhen gritted his teeth and swallowed a forbidden pill to flip the tide. Jiang Ling gasped. It was the human ignition pill, burning blood essence for explosive power. Shai Hojun roared, demanding Bai Yifan surrender before his boosted strength fully erupted. Yifan gave him no chance, charging so fast Xiahou Zhen couldn't process it. A tsunami-like pressure crashed down and Xiahou Zhen felt real fear for the first time. Trembling, he realized it was a spirit-grade martial skill far beyond his limits. Bai Yifan unleashed Giant Spirit Fist, blasting Xiahou Zhen straight off the arena. The crowd fell silent. The outer sex number 2 couldn't withstand a single move. Doubt spread. Spirit-grade skills supposedly required immense spirit power to wield. Even Yi Xiaokao and Jing Linj noticed it wasn't from the 5 elements Holy Land. The elders quickly identified it as Giant Spirit Fist, a supreme art of the true martial Holy Hall. Meanwhile, Wang Meng fumed as Xiahou Zhen lay completely unconscious. Tension thickened when the elder delayed announcing the obvious result. Sternly, the elder demanded Bai Yifan explain why he used a true martial Holy Hall technique. Disciples immediately suspected he was a planted spy. Bai Yifan calmly recounted being framed and falling into the demon pit abyss during trials. There, he and a yellow-robed true martial disciple fought a terrifying Asura. Before dying, that disciple passed him the essence of Giant Spirit Fist to finish the battle. With his naturally strong soul power, Bai Yifan forced the skill using his Qi and blood to survive. The elders confirmed a true martial disciple had indeed gone missing, lending credibility. Wang Meng tried to stir trouble, but Bai Yifan countered the rules allowed any means. After discussion, the elder ruled he could use Giant Spirit Fist in matches but must limit it afterward. Finally, the elder declared Bai Yifan the official winner. Luyas group erupted and cheers. Fange was absurdly dominant. Afar, Wang Meng ground her teeth. He survived and even gained a spirit-grade skill. Jiang Ling sighed in relief. Had safely passed the deadly bout. Yi Xiaokao teased her concern, forcing Jiang Ling to awkwardly change the subject. The elder swiftly announced the championship match: Bai Yifan versus genius Xiao Shi. Xiao Shi confidently stated that even with Giant Spirit Fist, Bai Yifan wasn't qualified to beat him. Bai Yifan skipped the talk and launched Giant Spirit Fist. Strength speaks louder. Xiao Shi calmly neutralized it with his fan, noting spirit-grade skills drain soul power and can't be spammed. He then unleashed a powerful spell, surging aura pressing toward Bai Yifan. The audience was stunned. Xiao Shi had entered the Spirit Communion realm, far beyond Purple Mansion. Yi Xiaokao worried the realm gap was practically crushing. Xiao Shi raised his head arrogantly, calling it the unbridgeable gulf between genius and others. Channeling Qi, he controlled his magic sword into a vortex of sword energy engulfing the arena. Everyone recognized sword control art usable only by those in the Divine Ability secret realm. The sword shot forward with terrifying force, Xiao Shi declaring the match over. Yet Bai Yifan calmly blocked the sword Qi, even remarking Xiao Shi's control lacked refinement. Realizing he couldn't drag it out, Bai Yifan decided to unveil his prepared trump card. Bai Yifan unleashes the Zheng metal sword art, and the arena instantly goes boom. Even Xiao Shi turns pale sensing that freaky sword aura. Jiang Ling is baffled. She gave him incomplete notes, yet he mastered it anyway. Xiao Shi scoffs, convinced that flimsy sword Qi can't touch his magic sword. Bai Yifan's blade power explodes and steamrolls Xiao Shi's sword Qi on the spot. Xiao Shi panics as his magic sword nearly gets crushed like a soda can. He hastily recalls his magic artifact, escaping disaster but drenched in cold sweat. Regret creeps in. Maybe mocking Bai Yifan's sword skills was a bad idea. Bai Yifan coolly warns that without full effort, Xiao Shi will lose for real. Xiao Shi freaks out, realizing that wasn't even Bai Yifan's true strength. Bai Yifan forms seals, ready to unleash the sword art's full terrifying power. The Zheng metal sword art erupts. Hundreds of blazing sword Qi shoot at Xiao Shi. Xiao Shi goes numb. This wave has way more swords than before. Even the elders gasp at Bai Yifan's insane spiritual energy control. Cornered, Xiao Shi uses the swimming dragon sword art to form a dragon-scale sword armor for defense. Bai Yifan keeps charging up, prepping a finishing strike with the Zheng metal sword art. A giant spiritual energy sword condenses and slams down, making Xiao Shi tremble in despair. The dragon-scale sword armor shatters instantly, sending shockwaves through the crowd. Bai Yifan steps forward to end the match before Xiao Shi can blink. Facing death, Xiao Shi drops to his knees and screams surrender. Xiao Tao is stunned 1 second later and Xiao Shi would lost an eye. The elder declares Bai Yifan champion and #1 outer sect disciple. After the battle, has awarded the Waterfire robe as the victor's prize. Bai Yifan smugly thinks the elders will now fight over him as a disciple. Plot twist: the elders swarm Xiao Shi instead, begging him to join their institutes. Each institute throws juicy offers, valuing Xiao Shi's sword talent above all else. Bai Yifan stands frozen, wondering why the champ is suddenly invisible. Xia Hozhen mocks that the 5 Elements Institute values aptitude and Bai Yifan is only yellow grade. Shen Xinyu tries to defend him, but Xia Hozhen keeps fanning the flames to embarrass Bai Yifan. He sneers that luck runs out, and aptitude gaps are forever. He even accuses Bai Yifan of using the God-devouring pill to forcibly boost his cultivation level. Bai Yifan calmly asks since when he ever took a God-devouring pill. Xia Hozhen insists no yellow grade should power up that fast. The crowd buzzes, convinced Bai Yifan's success came from pills. Amid sneers, Bai Yifan suddenly laughs, making everyone think he's lost it. He coldly tells Xia Hozhen to open his eyes and look at the real God-devouring pill. The crowd gasps. The pill is untouched, meaning he never used it. The rumors flip instantly. His victory was pure raw strength. Xiao Tao asks Jiang Linj in shock, not expecting Bai Yifan to be that confident. Bai Yifan mocks that only pill show-offs assume everyone cheats like them. Xia Hozhen still snarks that elders won't accept him anyway. Right then, elders turn back after realizing he didn't use any pills. In a blink, they surround Bai Yifan, competing to recruit him. Shen Xinyu laughs as the former bragger is now the one abandoned. Shockingly, Bai Yifan bows and declines, saying he needs time to think. The crowd is stunned. No one has ever rejected the institutes before. Inwardly, he calculates that these short-sighted elders aren't worth following. He decides to power up first and wait for a better opportunity. His next target, the Eternal Demon Pit, a monster-packed gym for brutal training. As he leaves, Li Yi asks his plan, and Bai Yifan answers with 2 words: cultivation. He swears not to return until breaking through to the divine ability realm. Bai Yifan later shows up at a fancy Hangqing mall to treat himself to a meal. Just as he's about to enter, a familiar voice calls his name from behind. It's Josuke, the girl he once crazily loved in college. She instantly mocks him, saying this place is pricey, has probably here just to window shop. Her boyfriend bristles, annoyed that Bai Yifan is better looking than him. Bai Yifan recalls blowing all his money on Josuke and getting only contempt in return. Josuke is surprised he's now taller and oozing way more charisma. Bai Yifan coldly turns away, uninterested in revisiting ancient history. The boyfriend starts cursing, only to be flattened by Bai Yifan's invisible spiritual force. Josuke tries to save face, suggesting they be friends like nothing happened. Bai Yifan bluntly refuses, saying his future girlfriend must be 10 times prettier than her. While they're still smug, a glamorous beauty steps out of a VIP room and calls Bai Yifan darling. Her overwhelming Harris aura sends the entire mall into chaos. Even Josuke's boyfriend stares blankly until she yanks him back in jealousy. The beauty links arms with Bai Yifan, sweetly calling him darling and dragging him to dinner. Josuke is shaken. This goddess is actually Bai Yifan's girlfriend. Kilo calmly confirms it, and Josuke's disdain flips into pure envy. Josuke tries to belittle Bai Yifan, claiming he's just a pretty face and even unemployed. Kilua fires back she owns over a dozen companies and dozens of houses, so her boyfriend doesn't need a job. She adds that just looking at Bai Yifan's face daily makes her happy enough. The crowd turns green with envy at this rich and gorgeous power couple. Kilo keeps holding his hand, asking what he wants for dinner tonight, ignoring Josuke's glare. Bai Yifan smiles softly, amused that the ICCO can act this adorably spoiled. Watching them leave, Josuke grinds her teeth in fury. She spitefully calls Bai Yifan a kept man living off rich women. Her clueless boyfriend sighs that clinging to a rich woman is a skill too. Josuke instantly twists his ear in warning, and he hurriedly apologizes. At the restaurant, Bai Yifan thanks Kilua for stepping in earlier. Kilua bluntly asks what exactly he did to her sister, Tang Rongrong. The question jolts Bai Yifan. Tang Rongrong hasn't contacted him in a while. Kilua says her sister's been studying hard lately, as if preparing for something big. Bai Yifan stays calm outwardly but suspects she's changing herself because of him. Kilua reminds him that to be her brother-in-law, he must be strong enough to protect her sister. Bai Yifan laughs, saying the Tang Corporation heiress isn't someone ordinary men can reach. Kilua suddenly says she thinks is actually quite decent. Then she hints that besides Tang Rongrong, his path may have other options. Her cryptic words freeze Bai Yifan. What exactly is she implying? Kilua offers no explanation and simply stands to end dinner. Outside, as she's about to drive him home, a familiar quarrel echoes nearby. Kilua recognizes Josuke and her boyfriend from earlier. The couple is arguing after careless driving scraped someone's car. Kilua steps forward coldly, asking what they're doing in front of her car. The boyfriend panics and apologizes for scratching her luxury vehicle. Josuke feels both furious and humiliated at bumping into them again. She stubbornly insists that insurance will cover it, so what's the big deal? Her boyfriend freaks out. It's a crazy expensive car and repairs will be brutal. Kilua calmly estimates the damage at 100,000 yuan and Josuke goes pale. Kilua leans in to ask Bai Yifan if he wants to seize the moment for revenge. She proposes that 3 sincere bows of apology will settle everything. The boyfriend urgently pushes Josuke. 3 bows are cheaper than 100 grand. In the end, Josuke bows her head in utter humiliation. She repeatedly apologizes, begging them not to call traffic police. Bai Yifan coolly says since his girlfriend is merciful, they'd better disappear. Josuke leaves with her head down, still convinced he's living off a rich woman. Kilua coldly questions her, having clearly heard the insult. Josuke stubbornly claims the luxury car can't be Bai Yifan's anyway. Kilua calls her secretary to bring a few cars from the garage, just the ordinary ones. Her meaningful glance at Bai Yifan tells him she's about to flex again. 10 minutes later, a convoy of supercars roars in, leaving the whole street gaping. Staff respectfully report they brought the most average cars as ordered. An Audi R7 BMW 8 and a shiny Maybach nearly stop Lin Jinli's heart. Kilua hugs Bai Yifan, saying the cars are collecting dust, he can pick one to drive home. Lin Jinli watches bitterly, crushed by the wealth gap. Josuke angrily scolds him for wanting to be a kept man. Lin Jinli snaps back, saying she was only with him for money anyway. They explode into a fight and break up on the spot. Bai Yifan chuckles, unlocking his car, saying one can't be too low-key outside. The engine's roar leaves the ex-couple stunned speechless. He walks to his Porsche 918 and calmly invites Kilua in. Josuke and Lin Jinli freeze, so the supercar is actually his. Even Kilua is briefly surprised but quickly regains composure. Bai Yifan smirks, telling Josuke and Kilua are a true power duo. He adds coldly that they're equals, no one's clinging to anyone. The supercar drives off, leaving the pair frozen amid jealous stares. Someone in the crowd jokes about applying to join this elite alliance. The story shifts back to the other world as Bai Yifan prepares to depart. Li Yi anxiously advises him not to return to the Eternal Demon Pit, it's too deadly. Bai Yifan says only danger can force a person to break their limits. Determined to enter the divine ability realm, he refuses to stop. Before leaving, he entrusts spiritual plants and pills to his brothers. He promises to return transformed in 3 months and leaves without looking back. In Black Mountain City, he plots how to reach the demon pit's deeper layers. Suddenly, a piercing cry for help rings out. A veiled girl is surrounded by thugs beside her father's corpse. The leader, Fang Lin, laughs. He stole the fire lotus seed and even kicked her father to death. She desperately demands the treasure back but is shoved to the ground. Seeing her beauty, Fang Lin grows greedy and orders his men to seize her. His lackeys close in while he gleefully says he enjoys the sound of screams. The girl trembles in despair, knowing she's cornered. Just as he moves, a sword suddenly flies in and slices off his arm. Fang Lin howls in agony as a cold voice tells him to scream louder. Bai Yifan steps out disdainfully, declaring he's the one who struck. Learning there from the elephant armor sect, Bai Yifan sneers that the sect is rotten to the core.